Ho, let's do the damn thing.
Oh, you know what time it is. It's time to take it to the Birdland. It's about to go down. Hope y'all ready. Yeah, let's go. Come and roll with me to the Birdland. Friends got to giving you the word, man. Any other BS is absurd, man. Sports talking, they give it to you firsthand. They can talk Terps, they can talk O's. Yeah, they both lit. That's how it goes. Baltimore squad, Ravens and Poe. Better tune in. Here gonna show. Birdland, Birdland, Birdland. BS. Birdland, Birdland, Birdland. BS.
It's all about that Christmas BS, baby.
That's right. What's up, BSers?
What's up, peeps?
Santa from the west side coming at you. My little bitch blitzing over here. Man, we got a full studio in the house tonight. Fred, Scott, Ryan, James, Drew, all in the house. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to all you BSers out there. It's crazy, man. It's 4 years on this thing. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. So thank you again for another year of support for us.
Yeah.
It's been as fun as always. We look forward to doing this for many more years to come.
Hey guys, what's the over-under running on Fred keeping this beard on the whole show?
It's already irritating me. It's already irritating.
He's got it.
We got a lot to talk about, man, on this show. The Ravens obviously lose their third straight, but it didn't go down without a fight against one of the best teams in football, so we're definitely going to talk a lot about that.
Yeah, and look, the next up is the must-win game for the Ravens. If they want to get into the playoffs and they've got those ambitions, they hit the road against Cincy and take on the division-leading Bengals. We almost were saying division-leading Browns yesterday.
It makes me sick to even think that. The division-leading Bengals.
I'd rather be them than the other two.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. The Terps ended up landing a few big names on their signees in their 2022 classes heading into bowl week as they get set for their Pinstripe Bowl showdown with Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and in this week's rundown, we talk Tigers return to the course, but another Woods is the one that steals the show. Some scary situations and injuries in the NFL this week, and a big KO for Jake Paul on Tyron Woodley. Or was it?
Yeah, it's debatable. We'll talk about that for sure. But not before a word from our sponsor.
Remember the team over at MD Crash we talked about for years? Well, they've expanded. More lawyers, more holiday helpers for you to use. You can handle for all your holiday slip-ups. Did you slip and fall in the toy shop? Did you take too many sips of eggnog and get behind the wheel? Did your grandma get ran over by a reindeer? Did Happy the Elf get a little trigger happy? We can cover it all. Accidents, DUI, homicide, Bowers, Hanson, and Herndon on the case for you. Call or text 667-220-6500. Since you all were good boys and girls and had put the MD Crash number in your phones, I need you to update now the MD Crash contact number. 667-220-6500. Santa sent you.
I mean, Jesus, here we go.
I got it.
It's time to take it to
How did that even happen?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
If
The
you can
same
play it
fuck-ups
again.
as always.
Y'all love the song and you know it.
Oh, Jesus.
There we go.
Wouldn't be another year without another screw-up, but it is what it is. Hey, man, so we got to talk about this game. Obviously, it was a game that is me. You were going way too high in my ears.
There you go.
There we go.
There we go. They're saying they can't hear anything.
It's a game that obviously ended in disappointment. To lose yet another heartbreaking game like that, coming down to a extra point, 2-point conversion debate, which we're going to talk a lot about that. But here's the thing. You lose a game by 1 point to the best quarterback in the game, the number one seed in the NFC, number one team overall in the NFL right now, minus all the players out with injury and the COVID mess and everything. When you put it in perspective, the effort that these players showed, considering all the circumstances, the never quit fight that the team had, something special to watch.
It is something special to watch. Like you said, I mean, so many injuries have plagued this team. Not only, this this week, but just throughout the year. I mean, you think going into this game and really at the end of this game, I think the total is 32 players have been on IR or been injured at some point for this team. And to be in the situations that they are, and I know we're going to get into it, but to almost rout Aaron Rodgers with a bunch of backups?
Exactly.
Impressive.
Absolutely. And again, you lose at the last minute, you lose, Chuck Clark, Jimmy Smith to COVID situations, which you already had a depleted secondary as it is. You got the practice squad of the practice squad players out there playing and suiting up and getting big minutes in this game. So to be able to do that and, again, go to toe-to-toe and actually have a chance to win the game there in the end, to me, just goes to show the character of this team, top to bottom, coaches to the players. I know there's a lot of questions right now about the coaching decisions. Like I said, we're going to talk about that. But you can't start talking about this game without talking about Tyler Huntley. He played his fucking ass off in this game.
He did.
I mean, he looked great. And this isn't me saying, oh, Tyler Huntley's the man, forget about Lamar. But give credit where credit is due. Tyler Huntley thrust into the spotlight yet again, didn't have a full week of preparation, showed up and played his ass off.
He made, to your point, he was making decisive decisions, right? When he was throwing it, he was committing. He did overthrow it at times, but I think it's a little bit of adrenaline for him, right? Only his second true start. And in this situation, it just wasn't too big. He was, to your point, he was very confident in the way that he played in this game. And there's some factors that went into why I think he was confident, but it was good to see him play well and show that. I think I forget who it was that said this team is. I think it might have been Bateman. This team is not just a one-man show.
Absolutely.
And Tyler continued to show that this week.
Yeah, man. What I really liked about it is he didn't hold on to the ball too long. He only took one sack in this game, mind you. He only took one sack with an even more banged-up offensive line. You didn't have Pat McCarry out there. You lose Tyree Phillips early. You got, again, practice squad tackles going out there playing crucial minutes, right? And to only give up the one sack goes to show the kind of preparation that Tyler puts in, man, because from a mobility standpoint, I'm not going to say he has the elusiveness of Lamar, but man, is he close. Like, just some of the plays that he makes.
He's
and
got
his
some good vision when he needs to run.
Sometimes, like I said, in a straight line, he, to me, looks faster than Lamar, just straight in a line. The whole elusiveness, the stop and go, the shiftiness, the vision is what separates Lamar from Huntley in that sense. But just straight line speed, he's quick.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, you're talking about that elusiveness on that side. This game, he really didn't hold on to the ball. He got sacked one time on the game. And look, the O-line as a whole played pretty well. You want to know who the two guys I was most impressed with were the tackles. Villanueva had a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
He played well compared to what we've been seeing him play well.
Absolutely.
Right? But the other guy that stepped up, David Sharp.
Yeah.
We didn't know who this guy was. He comes
Very little about him, yeah.
And he looks pretty decent. He didn't look bad. You had Bozeman playing like Bozeman.
Yeah.
You had Cleveland stepping up, kind of looking good. All of which Harbaugh gave a lot of credit to in his pressers the past 2 days.
Cleveland has some things he needs to clean up, but I mean, honestly, he
Rookie.
is, even at this point, to me, he's an upgrade over Powers. I think he looks more comfortable out there, and I think he handles the position better. So it's good to see him out there and getting the first team reps. But man, I tell you, us as Raven fans, man, Tyler might be playing his way out of Baltimore the way he's been playing these last few games. Obviously, the game in Chicago, he held his own out there. Last week against the Browns, coming in after Lamar, and then this week again going toe to toe against Aaron Rodgers, going toe to toe. This is a guy that could be earning a contract. He's in his last year of his deal. He's an undrafted free agent, right? So
is it this year? I thought it was last year. I thought it was a 3-year situation. Last year,
he's an he's at the end of this year. His contract is up. Okay. So the Ravens will have to make a decision whether they're going to tender him an offer, which I'm sure they will. It's just I assume that this contract, if you got a team out there who's in quarterback need, right? And you're just thinking about
pick, which team,
thinking about like if you're high up in the draft board. This quarterback class that's coming out this year is not very good from the college standpoint. You got a kid who's fairly young that's already proven he could play at the NFL level, and if you've got an offensive system that is similar to what the Ravens run, a la Seattle, right? If Seattle ends up losing a Russell Wilson to another team, they've got a system up there that I could very easily see him being a good fit up there.
David Missler says he'll be wearing green and gold after that game.
Right. Very well could.
Could be.
Never know.
Look, I think the other big thing that you got to talk about in this game, Mark motherfucking Andrews, man.
Yeah.
God, did he play tough. And he was worth, to your point, you were the one that said this, worth every penny of his contract that he's been showing out. And I know there's going to be people that are calling out the 2-point conversions the past few weeks. I get that, but the tough catch after tough catch in this game, and the two big touchdown catches, the diving touchdown catch, beautiful.
Yeah.
Huntley put it where only he could get it, and he went down and got it.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Andrews again. Right now, it's no debate that he is 1-2 top tight end in the league. I think he's 8th overall in the NFL in receiving yards in general. That's wide receivers, tight ends, all combined. He's 8th in the NFL. That's incredible because he's the first Ravens tight end in this game to go over 1,000 yards receiving in a season. That's a big milestone. We've been talking about it for a while. When's the Ravens going to have that 1,000-yard receiving threat? I don't care if it comes from the tight end position, wide receiver. I don't care where it is. Mark Andrews gets it done in Week 15. Hollywood not far behind. But, man, beyond just the stats, what you're seeing him do as far as just his toughness, right? Not going down, fighting for the extra yards. That's what somebody who gets paid top dollar does, right? They're earning their paycheck. And, man, Mark Andrews is doing it at a really, really high level right now.
Yeah, his yards after the catch in this game was really well. And he, especially considering that some of the top guys, right? Hollywood didn't look himself this game.
No, I mean, look, Huntley obviously got locked in. Very Lamar-like to Andrews and Hollywood in this game.
Who wouldn't with the way he was playing?
The thing with Hollywood that was kind of disappointing from this game, he had 10 catches, but he only had 43 yards. Everything we've been talking about this year with him turning up field and fighting and getting yards after the catch, even being 185 pounds or whatever he is, he's elevated his game. He's improved his game in that sense. But these last couple of weeks, we haven't been seeing that as much from him, and it was really evident in this game. Again, 10 catches for 43 yards, 4.3 yards per catch. That's just unheard of. You don't ever hear of a guy with 10 catches for that little of yards. So that's one area that I thought, man, if we could have got a little bit more out of Hollywood in this game with the yards out of after the catch, maybe we convert more of these. Maybe we're not as many fourth down situations or third and
to talk
longs.
about Lamar or Hollywood too. The thing that I noticed in this game, there was twice that after a catch, he came up on TV, he appeared limp or out of breath.
Yeah.
Like, to your point, that it's just something wasn't there. He wasn't himself. He was, whether it was winded, feeling maybe playing hurt, who knows? It just something looked different. He didn't feel comfortable, didn't look comfortable.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work. The other guy, and I see some people joining in the chat room saying Bateman needed more opportunities. And to that point, Bateman has 1 catch in this game. And outside of that, I think he had a total of 3 targets, maybe.
Right. Yeah, this coming after a big week, from Huntley. He had his first 100-yard receiving game. It seemed like him and Huntley, had good chemistry going on. But listen, that's just the way the NFL works. You're going to have games where one guy's hot and you find the hot hand. And listen, Mark Andrews was absolutely dominating the Green Bay defense in this game. There wasn't a real reason to get Bateman involved. I mean, you want to, he's your number 1 overall draft pick in this year's draft. You want to get him involved. But when Andrews is dominating the defense like that and catching everything thrown his way, you keep going to him. Tyler did that, and he was able to move around in this game. Again, they scored points in the first quarter. They scored, I think, 10 points in the first quarter, which could have been 14. We'll talk about that here in a second. They scored points in the first quarter. Again, you get 30 points on the Packers, the best team in the NFL. The offense did their job in this game.
Yeah, they definitely did. And, I think somebody, talked about Freeman. Freeman was a little less of a factor in this game. He did, he was averaging 3.7, 6 carries, 22 yards. But the guy that was surprising that they went to the well with him so quickly and so more often than they did Freeman was Latavius Murray in this game.
Beast mode.
Getting 7 carries on 48 yards, averaging 6.9, longest being 16, but still looking good in this situation. situation. And then you have the fact of Tyler Huntley being able to scramble and get those yardage. 13 carries, 73 yards, averaging 5.6 with those 2 TDs that we saw out of him. And James, I think you hit us with a stat pre-show. What was that stat regarding him pre-show?
That was that was him being the first Raven to throw 2 throwing touchdown and 2 rushing touchdown. Lamar doesn't have that.
I mean, that's a pretty telling stat. I did not know that until coming in here today. So for the first Ravens quarterback to ever throw 2 touchdowns and rush for 2 touchdowns in a game is Tyler Huntley. That's a pretty impressive feat, man. And what you like about him is, again, in the fourth quarter, it's 9 minutes left in the game. They're down 2 scores in this game, and it's very easy for a young quarterback like that to just fold, right? He didn't. Yeah, very much like Lamar, he turned it up another notch, took it into his own hands, took what was given to him from the defense and made the rushes, got the couple of touchdowns there with his legs as well. Again, it's a great performance overall, I think, by this offense. Obviously, you were left that stadium in disappointment because they were so close to winning this game. But, again, for me, I told you this last week, I didn't have the highest expectations. I had 0 expectations of the Ravens ever winning this game, right? So the fact that they were even in it and we had the opportunity there to win it is telling. And it just goes to show how good this team is and how well, I don't care what you guys think out there, how well this team is coached.
Okay, so let's just rip the Band-Aid.
Let's do it.
Right here, right now, right? Because the debate is going on through social media. James is warming up over there. He's ready for the debate. Look, the Harbaugh debate is going for, let's start not with the 2-point conversion. We're going to start with 4th downs.
Okay.
Right? Because that starts early in the game.
Yeah.
We had the chance to put points on the board with Tucker. Doesn't happen. They go for it. I think it was 4th and 6.
Yeah.
They wind up not doing it. Little surprising there, but they could have also turned it over or let me put this the right way. They could have also gotten down there and not scored any points at all, even if they get that first down. Right? Or
Yeah.
Tucker, God forbid, knock on wood, Tucker misses it. Do you have a problem with them not going for 3 there and not taking the points against the Green Bay Packers?
So in that situation, I had a problem with it because here's the way I look at the 4th down conversions. I don't have a problem with the aggressiveness and the analytics and the stats and everything out there will tell you on 4th and short, the statistics tell you that you have a high success rate of conversion. That's where I'll end with the analytic conversation. It's an added piece, but it shouldn't be the end-all, be-all. There is a flow of the game situation. There's also where you're at on the field in relation to whether you go for it or not. If you're in a low percentage field goal situation, like a 50-plus yard field goal position, and it's 4th and short, you might go for it, right? But once you get within inside 45 yards, especially with the greatest kicker of all time, and it's early in this game, it's the first fucking quarter, you're going up against the best team in the NFL, you got to take every point you can possibly get that early. So that's where I had the problem in this situation. I don't have a problem with the majority of them going with for it on 4th down.
Okay.
It's because they've actually been pretty successful with it, right? I don't have a problem with it.
I think they're running at like 47.5% on the 4th downs. So,
Right.
flipping a coin almost.
It's pretty successful. I did have a problem in that situation, and it ended up biting us in the ass in the end because at that point, you take those 3,
You're up by 2.
you're up by 2. You're not even questioning going for it for 2 there at the end of the game.
Or you're just kicking the 1 and making it 3.
The whole outcome of that game could change whether they do that too. It's hard to debate it, but
Yeah.
I did have a problem in this particular situation.
All right, Ryan, did you have a problem with the call there on 4th down?
No, I didn't, because again, if you're going for it there, you're hoping you get it. But your fallback is you're pinning them deep in their territory, and it worked. It was a 3 and out. They got a punt. We got the ball basically back in Packers territory, and then we scored a touchdown. So it's really hard to say you just add 3 points to the score. You might not. You might subtract 4 points to our score. You might have gotten the 3 there, but then had to punt on your next drive because you weren't already in Packers territory. So you just don't know how the future works in that.
All right, Casting Couch, how'd you guys feel about the 4th down there?
I hate it's almost like mine's just a hindsight of it comes back to bite you in the ass because then you felt the need to take the 2-point conversion. But I'm with Ryan there because, like you said, you started off this little part right there. No one here, especially in this room, he picked the Ravens. We all a majority of Ravens fans thought there's no way they're even going to be close in this game.
Right.
And when it was like 31-17, I was like, that might be it.
Right.
So we didn't think we were going to be in it. So at that point, it's like, are you? You know what I mean? Like you're trying to keep up with this high-powered offense, and like he said, you forced the punt, you scored the touchdown the next. You know what I mean? Like you tried to set the pace yourselves. It just sucked that like in the end, it came down to if you took that field goal though,
right,
2-point conversion.
Yeah, a lot of things changed. James, what's your opinion? Again, 4th down, not 2-point conversion yet. We'll talk about it.
I got a lot of opinions, but
go ahead.
For all of us saying that the Ravens didn't have a chance, we were in this game. We always talk about we have the best kicker. Put the 3 points up because you never know what points are going to come. Or
right.
Oh, I'm going to be down in the second half, so let me not kick it here because I'm going to get it back. I hate all of this, and the problem is John Harbaugh. And then we can talk more about it, but I want him to kick that field goal, put the points up. You have the opportunity to put points on the board. You put it on the board, and you have the best goddamn kicker in the league, and we hear this. Oh, no, we have the best kicker. We don't fucking use the kicker, and we lose games.
Okay.
So
I'm not going to argue your point. I don't disagree with your point. But go ahead, Scott.
So for the first time in a while, I actually agree with James here.
Okay.
I think it made sense in that situation. You're going against the best of the best. You have to put points on the board early, no matter how they come. If it comes by the field goal, if it comes by a touchdown, if it comes by a safety, put points on the board because every point matters. And yes, I know. Yes, did I pick the Ravens for this game? I did, but I said to you guys, it was literally that situation in our competition that I'm trying to make up ground on James with his with his picks here. But I didn't expect to win this game. It was something we might get lucky, right? And we kind of almost did. In that situation, if he kicks that field goal, we're not having this conversation. The 2-point conversion conversation isn't happening because they don't even go for it with 2 points. At that point, if you kick the field goal, you're up by 2. You take the extra point. Now you're up by 3, and you're forcing them to get within field goal range with Mason Crosby, who's had some struggles throughout this season.
Yeah,
right?
We kept pulling to hope that he'd miss an extra point. He didn't.
So let's switch gears now. Then we've all addressed the 4th down thing, but let's address the biggest elephant in the room, which is the 2-point conversion call.
Yeah.
I'm going to start us off on this one because I did, and you guys know, I said right when they went out the first time, go for 2 here.
Talking about against
right after he gets into the end zone.
Before they
I said go for 2 here.
Yeah.
They trot him out in a running formation and then call it back and take the timeout. The second that they do that, everybody knows. If they go for it, it's going to Andrews.
My brain in that situation went, they rushed the team out there and threw them up on line to try to get Green Bay to burn their last timeout. Look at they had 1 timeout to go. There was 40-something seconds left in the game. Jump them up on the line real quick. Try to get them to either false start, get a little bit closer, make them burn this timeout because they don't like the defensive call against the alignment, whatever. So I think that was part of it. And then it was, all right, we're going to call a timeout and make the decision whether we're actually going to go for this. And if you watch the Ravens Wired that they did after that timeout, Harbaugh is literally asking everybody on the bus, everybody in the stadium, whether this is the right thing. Do we go for it here? What do you want to do? He asked Andrews, he asked Huntley, he asked everybody, and they all wanted to go for it.
And I get that, right? So here is the only thing that I would say. Huntley hasn't been in this situation before.
Agreed.
Andrews has, and he's making an emotional decision because he knows what happened 2 weeks ago. Okay?
Point.
You are the head coach. At some point, you need to step up and make the decision.
I call bullshit.
Go ahead.
We all sat here and we're so proud of the moment where he asked Lamar if you wanted to go for it on fourth down, and they all wanted to go for
different.
it, and they got going and they made it and converted it.
It changed the entire aspect of that season.
And we're like, that's how you build a team. That's how you build people around each other. He's going to his leaders.
You also had an
allowing
offensive
decision.
line that could protect him at that
And
time.
if they would have scored the 2-point conversion to Andrews, which again is my whole problem with it, is you call the exact play. But if you call the exact play and you make it work, he looks like a genius again and goes, see, that's what was supposed to happen in Pittsburgh. We did made the right decision. We're all just pissed off because it didn't work. It just happens that way.
Nah.
That's exactly right. Go ahead. Go ahead, James.
The problem is, I'm gonna say this. The problem is the head coach. Okay, you are the head coach. You make the decision. I don't want to hear, hey Fred, what do you want to do? Hey Ryan, what do you want to do? You're the fucking head coach. If you're the coach, we don't need a coach if you're going to ask players what you want to do. You're the head coach. You make the decision. You die by your decision, and that's it. I'm tired. When I saw that, I'm like, has this been going all year or years past, going up to players like, hey, what do you want to do? Hey, do you know what you want to do? Aren't you the head coach?
He did against Pittsburgh.
But what I'm saying is, you have a so-called Huntley as your second quarterback, not your starter. You went into this game saying, hey, if we lost, we lost. That's fine. Why not go into overtime? Why not put the 3 points? This all falls on John Harbaugh. I'm done with him. I'm done with Greg Romans. I hope they sit down and talk to Lamar and say, hey, how do you feel? Get his opinion. So like Aaron Rodgers, if this is going to be your guy, if you're going to pay $40 million for an outstanding running back as your quarterback, fine. I'll die by it. I'll die for it because you all talk about why pay a running back when you only had 3-5 years?
We had this conversation.
When we're having Lamar right now being a fancy running back right now. He's not being a quarterback. He's making plays because, number one, we don't have offensive linemen. And number two, we don't have running backs. So you have to have Lamar do everything. So you might as well pay him the money and get what you want. But at the end of the day, this falls on John Harbaugh. If he knew that we're going to lose this game, what does it matter if we go into overtime? You were figuring lose it, and I hate what happens if you got the corn toe. What happened is that we were driving. We scored on that drive. We had the momentum going. Let these guys figure out because what happens in overtime could help during Cincinnati. But it is what it is. You're going to have this person said it could have been done like this. We should have kicked it or this, that. But the main problem was we didn't kick that field goal.
I agree that this falls on Harbaugh. I do agree with that, but I'll go into detail. Go ahead, Drew.
I don't know how you follow that.
Do you agree? Disagree?
I forgot where James, as always, takes me off my train of thought, so I don't know. I agreed. I hate the play call.
Exactly.
Like you guys already kind of took the reins. Like once they knew, you know what I mean? Like so many people knew it was going to be. And it's like you don't ever really have these specific rollouts ever, it feels. It always seems like the rollout comes off of play action. That was like just a specific bootleg rollout. When do you ever run that play?
Right.
So there you go with saying you're expecting a second-year quarterback to handle that situation. When you run a play that, as far as we know, like we're not used to seeing that play, so it doesn't feel like they'd be used to seeing that play.
Right.
So, for me, and maybe this is it's still kind of a cop-out, but like it almost feels like you should be on house money anyway. You shouldn't be where you're at now. So if converting the two, like Ryan said, you probably look a genius if you make it. If converting that 2-point conversion makes you a genius and gets you one step closer to the playoffs, all bets are off at this point in the season anyway because you've been so decimated by injuries in game and COVID's rearing its ugly head around the whole league. Who knows what's going to happen with that shit?
Right.
You don't know what's going to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really know what's going to happen anyway. If that's your shot to try and win the game right then and there, fucking take it. It just didn't work.
That's exactly
We're
right.
going to get there, indeed.
And that's exactly why I agree with your take. I love the aggressiveness of it, especially in the situation. I did not like the play call, especially the same play call 2 weeks in a row, basically. Here's the thing. We gave Harbaugh so much shit for so long just about being too conservative, right, and being too passive on things. And then in 2019, the whole incident that Ryan brought up with Lamar, that kind of changed the tide for Harbaugh, and everybody was praising him for making that decision, right? you got to take this situation for what it is and look at the reality of this season, right? Bearing all the injuries and everything that we've had this year, this team really was up against a wall, whether they were even going to be in playoff contention, right? But we have been. A lot of that falls on Lamar, 100%. Lamar for a long time was carrying us through that, but it's also been coaching and getting these guys who've had to play a lot more minutes than we would have ever expected them to play this year, prepared and ready to play. In this game, in this situation, you have a chance there to win the game by going for a 2-point conversion against one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Mind you, there's 45 seconds left in the game with one timeout against a JV secondary, right? A secondary that's barely played any time. And there's 45 seconds left in regulation against Aaron Rodgers, who's already put up 31 points, who has been destroying you with their tight ends. Mercedes Lewis, who was drafted in like 1992, is destroying you, right? And destroying your secondary. I don't like our chances of giving the ball back there before we even get to overtime. Take the coin toss equation out of it. I don't even like the chances we had there with 45 seconds left. But if our defense can miraculously hold them, then again, it comes down to the whole chance of a coin flip and all that. And if Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay wins that, then they march down the field. We never even get a shot to win that game. You had a chance there with 45 seconds left to go to give your team the lead, and potentially win the game.
So
that's why I like the decision, hated the play call.
I get what you're saying, but Adit brought up where I was going before Ryan took over on it. But the thing is he needs to step up. And the big thing is they should have gone for this 2-point conversion when they got it on the first one. When they got the first touchdown, you go for the 2-point conversion there, because then if you score again, I think there was 6 minutes left in the game at that point. If you score there, now you're saying, okay, if we get the 2-point conversion on this one, we only have to go for one and we have the lead.
Right.
Versus if we set back, and that's assuming your defense makes a stop, as they did, right? And then you say, okay, we're going to put ourselves in position to win this game ahead of time. If you miss it, then that's where the decision comes in, and you say, okay, now we missed the first time. We're not going to try it again. We're just going to take it to overtime. We just stopped him. There were too many other things going into play here. Do I think maybe he didn't make that call because he didn't think they were going to be able to stop him and put up another set of points? Possibly. But you have to say, if we're getting closer, you just scored a touchdown and you've been struggling, okay, go for it. I don't have a problem if this is beforehand. If it's the same play call too.
Right.
If it's the same play call and they go for it there, that's my issue. The other part to that second touchdown, when you go for the 2-point conversion there, again, I get what you were saying, and both you guys were saying where they were trying to get him to jump off sides, right?
Yeah.
I get that. But you've been able to find holes in the run game, 123 yards.
Again, play call. I 100% agree that it was a terrible play call.
I'm doing it. If I'm them right there, let Huntley QB sneak it. Let Freeman dive over the pylon. If it's a 2-point conversion, if he drops the ball on a 2-point conversion trying to get it over, all he's got to do is get the edge of the ball over.
The other part where we haven't mentioned yet, it was a bad throw. One, it was behind him.
him.
So even if
the
safety isn't there to make the play, it's a bad throw. Secondly, Hollywood Brown was wide open behind Mark Andrews. Huntley didn't see that, right? So
he's facing this way. Hollywood's a little bit more towards his left side. He had to see him out of the corner of his eyes.
But he easily could have just thrown it over the defensive back
there
and gotten an easy touchdown or an easy 2-point conversion.
You guys are missing something.
Go ahead.
While we're all looking over here about the 2 points and all that, we forgot when we gave them the ball in short field going for it on 4th down and not getting it.
Right. We had that conversation.
So what are we missing?
But then they held them to a field goal.
We hold them to a field goal. So that's what I'm saying. And we scored a touchdown. So we shouldn't have been in there anyways, because if Aaron Rodgers would have scored the touchdown,
right,
by our defense stopping, we shouldn't have worried about the game. It would have been over. But the thing is, everybody's talking about this 2-point conversion and forgetting about the bad play call. If you thought you were going to win the game, you would have punted. But you took the risk because you had nothing to lose. You're going to lose anyways, in your mind. You went for him 4th down and gave him in short field that we actually stopped him and gave him a field goal. But
Right.
All right, how about the worst pass interference call in the history of time that
We
cost
can't-
us 4 points?
Exactly.
I mean,
But you
there's a
can't-
million places
can't-
you can get
hold
mad
on,
about.
but
There's
you can't-
always what ifs
hold
in the
on,
games.
But you can't rely on a ref making a call. You can rely on your head coach and making play calls.
But we need that to be challengeable. They really do. I don't
It's not,
understand.
though. You can't go blaming the refs.
It was not only the Ravens game this week. We were watching another one last night with like a terrible pass interference call where the guy
Yeah.
wasn't even
Right.
touching the
I know,
player.
right. But this is every game.
I
There's refs that
understand,
make
but
bad calls.
if you're making everything challengeable, and in fact now they're going to that like quick reversal thing where New York just changes it anyway. Why can't a bad call? Like these refs are not in the perfect position. I was an umpire. Sometimes you don't have as good as angle as somebody else.
I understand that. It
If you
happens.
call pass interference because you're behind him and the way you saw it looked like he had his hip, but clearly on 4K fucking video he's not touching the guy. We shouldn't be penalized 15 yards on a
You're gonna
first
have a
down.
five
Get it
yard
right.
range.
And clear something
And
up, George.
Troy Aikman even made comment of that on air.
Yeah, and George, what we were referencing is it the 2-point thing. If you make the combination of going for the 3 earlier and you go ahead and you go 2 early in the first touchdown and then get the second, then you're in that situation where you're up at that point and you're kicking 1 and you're winning versus going for 2 and tying. So
Yeah, I just listen. Again, does John Harbaugh make 100% of the right calls? Nope. And I'm not going to sit here and defend John Harbaugh like he doesn't have any blame, right? There are situations in this game where he absolutely shouldn't have gone for a fourth conversion. Like, should have taken the points early on. There's so many things that we could criticize him for. It's just, in my opinion, when you got down to that last situation, that's all I'm talking about is literally that 2-point conversion. I did not have a problem with the aggressiveness, knowing the situation. Again, it was just a bad play call and poor execution because, again, Huntley throws the ball over the line there. He gets Hollywood streaking in the end zone.
And Chuck has a good point, and Brian brought it up for us. There's no oversight or repercussions for NFL officials that help teams that, they screw over. Basically saying, there's no accountability, it seems like.
Merry
right?
Christmas, Sam.
It doesn't, Merry Christmas, man. It doesn't seem like there's held to any standard that there is, and maybe there is, but it's not public. But the problem is the public is calling for it. I'm not saying you need to put these refs on blast, but guess what? If you're a head judge and you're not going up to, the side judge that made the call going, are you sure? Right. Are you sure? They do need to make a point at some point to say, maybe you get your 2 challenges during a game, but maybe you also get 2 penalty challenges that you can say that was a penalty, because I forget what game it was. There was a challenge that I think it was the Packers game when he threw the flag for saying it was a penalty for the 12, but that's a penalty, right?
You can challenge for 12 men on the field because a guy might have a foot that nowhere near the play. Doesn't affect the play. His toe's still touching the green grass. You can challenge it.
Right.
But you can't challenge a guy touching someone's shoulder
for
pad.
5
Right,
yards.
exactly.
It probably
You can't
won't
challenge
matter.
a guy touching the quarterback's shoulder pad and the guy going like this.
Their defense in that is that's a judgment call, whereas foot on the field is
But
clear.
hold on, but
calls.
literally everything is a judgment call.
Not if a foot is on a field or not.
in the
on a field.
moment.
No, well, in the moment. I'm saying why it's reviewable is because it's clear cut. Yes or no, it wasn't. A judgment is in.
Let me ask you a question. If that guy, so let's say they're down at the 10-yard line, going towards the end zone. The guy's running off. The closest that he can get to get off the field is the 15. He's got that 5 yards. He's got to run behind scrimmage to get off the field. What effect is he having on the play? That's what people are saying.
That's questioning the rule in itself of just getting
But that's
off
a
the field.
judgment call. He does. Okay, yes, he's running off the field. He's running off the field, and he has no effect on the play whatsoever.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
That's just the way the rule's written.
That's the way the cookie
I just think
crumbles.
at this day and age with technology, do we really need to use someone in New York and
Right.
some sky judges that they fucking XFL was doing it and it seemed like
Right.
it was pretty cool.
Before I get into the defensive side of things, Ryan, was there any good questions? Anything that we should be bringing up here in the chat room, or?
I think that most people's comments have already been brought up.
Okay.
A lot of people talking about, the same thing, the coaches, the players.
Right.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up just before we move on to the defensive side is I get going to Andrews. He was your workhorse all game.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the only one catching the ball. Everyone caught the ball. There were no drops in this game.
Yeah.
Everyone was short-handed. So to force feed it to Andrews, to focus on Andrews when Duvernay was producing, and
Crochet.
But he wasn't
Crochet
force feeding the ball.
was-
You would say he was force feeding it if he had 20 targets and only caught 10 balls. He only
I'm just saying
only
that play.
had 2 extra targets than
There were
receptions.
zero reads on that play. That play was run right, throw to Andrews.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah,
I'm talking
100%.
about 2-point conversion.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So everyone thought Andrews. That's the worst person to go to. I drop back, I fake it to Andrews, and I hit somebody wide open with short hands on the other side.
Right.
And I just don't understand
The play
how
call.
that happens.
Yeah.
I just can't understand it.
100%.
Go ahead. I'll let know you're getting ready to go.
Let's flip it over to the defensive side, right? There's not a ton to talk about here because, again, they still did give up 31 points, but I do want to give them a little bit of praise because considering the circumstances that they were in, again, a lot of guys that weren't even on an NFL roster, or if they were on practice squads just a few weeks ago, got a lot of minutes in this game, especially in the secondary. But there were some things that just left me scratching my head about Wink in this game. And the reason I say that is because when you take that all into consideration, how depleted they were in the secondary, and you look at what Green Bay is built. Green Bay is not built like the Chiefs, where the Chiefs can spread 4 and 5 wide receivers and they have this great athletic tight end. They've got 2 blocking tight ends out there. They've got Alan Lazard, who's essentially playing tight end now because they have so many injuries at tight end. Outside of Devontae Adams and
Marquez
Valdez-Scantling, they don't really have
they did that.
Valdez-Scantling. They don't really have a ton of threats.
Lazard.
But here's the thing. They were in nickel and dime formation for pretty much the entire game when they didn't have hardly anybody in the secondary.
Yeah, minimal zero, cover zeros in that situation against him, and trying to get the pressure on him and force
it's
that.
not even just cover zeros, but you've got, the majority of your defensive line is healthy and available. Justin Madubuike had a very good game in this game. He actually had a sack in this game, considering he wasn't on the field very much. They just didn't create enough pressure around Aaron Rodgers. They didn't use their big boys up front in the running game, took advantage of that. And they had all these replacement secondary pieces out there on the field way too often. It seemed like a poor game plan. And when I started looking at the numbers, because again, at the game, you get a feel for things, but you don't have the numbers right in front of you. So I looked at this. Green Bay had 346 total yards of offense in this game. Almost 220 of that came on first down alone.
We also blitzed the least that we've blitzed in the entire season.
Right.
Against this team and against Aaron Rodgers, the guy that you want to put pressure on, you want to get him moving around on his that toe that winds up being hurt. You can blitz him. We've seen people blitz him and him get a little frustrated and wind up throwing it deep, and then he gets frustrated with his wide receiver saying it's their fault.
Starters on the team.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway, one guy I think that had a really damn good game is Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen comes out, has a monster game, 10 tackles in the first half alone.
Yeah, 13 overall in this game. Patrick Queen, I'm telling you, from where it was week 1 to where we are in week 15, he's had immense improvements, especially going over to that weak side versus being the Mike linebacker. It's worked out really, really well for him, and he's really improved in his tackling. You know what I mean? He's definitely more fundamental. He's wrapping guys a lot better, so it's really, really good to see that. I'll tell you, again, considering the circumstances, having Brandon Stevens and Geno Stone out there played their best games as safeties, I think.
Oh, no, I didn't know we were doing it.
Geno Stone, right? This is a guy that we threw away, so to speak, last year.
Yeah.
And now he comes in and fills in for Chuck Clark and takes the green dot, too.
Yeah.
For what it was, and the guys that he had on the field to communicate to, I would say seamless in that effort.
Agreed.
Because he's just relaying the play calls. That's on Wink with the play calls. But he comes in, he plays well, he tackled well. That was a nice thing that I saw in this game, not just with Patrick Queen. We saw Stevens and we saw Geno Stone wrapping guys up, not allowing them to get to another level.
Yeah.
Which is something I was not expecting. When you heard we were going to be down 2 safeties in this game, it caused grave concern. Oh, shit. Don't let anybody get to that into that secondary or to that second level because these safeties aren't going to be able to tackle.
Ryan scratched his head.
Oh. I'm scratching my head because we got through Andrews and Huntley without a game ball. How the fuck did that happen?
I forgot about the bell, to be honest with you.
Hey, if it's any consolation, I was so afraid to hit it earlier because I didn't know.
Drew, which one do you want? Because I'll pick either.
I missed the week, and I was too afraid to hit it earlier for Andrews.
All right, I'm taking my boy.
I missed the week. I thought I was too afraid Dad was going to yell at me.
I'm taking my boy Huntley. Huntley got me paid this week, people. Paid.
Yeah.
At DFS, he was one of the lowest priced quarterbacks out there. I stacked him with Andrews. He was the number one tight end and number one quarterback on the main DFS slate, and I 5 times my money and cashed out for the DFS season. Congratulations, everybody. Huntley is the boy. I hope we get one more week of him and let Lamar get fully healthy.
Go ahead and hit the bell, Drew. I'll let you have Andrews here.
No, well, yeah, that's a gimme. But I'll since we're already past that segment, a rookie that I said I was always going to focus on was Stevens.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's learning. You're learning on the fly.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
He's going to make mistakes, but he's improving.
But at least it doesn't look like you're absolutely just getting burned on every play. You've seen young safeties get thrust in this position and just get absolutely like looking in the backfield when it's 3rd and 20 and you're looking in the backfield thinking it's going to be a run or something. Like that hasn't been happening with him. He's been impressive. And gaining his legs on my leg.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Steve says, I remember when Stone and Stevens were draft picks. They were not popular picks. EDC made absolutely the right call in depth.
Right.
So good call there.
Well, like I said, this is the 3rd loss in a row now for the Ravens, down to 8-6 and now 2nd place in the AFC North. These 3 losses, man, combine of 4 points. So even with all the injuries, right, and going up against some of the teams that we've been going up, again, we still have a chance. Come down to the end of the game and be into this. 3 games, combined total of 4 points. And again, 2 of the 3 come down to failed 2-point conversions.
Yeah. So next, the latter portion of the schedule here, we got at the Bengals, so we go out to Cincy, and then we come home for the final 2 as the Rams come into town, and then the Steelers wind up coming into town in that last division game, which people are now calling for that to potentially be flexed to a later game, which would be
Depends
interesting.
on what happens this week.
It will be. So we'll see what happens. But let's first focus on what's in front of us this week, and that is the first place Bengals. As we said that again, it's hard to say that, the first place Bengals
right
in the AFC North.
So before we get to the Bengals, and it's all related, I wanted to get your guys' take on this because we all know the issues that we have at cornerback right now and how depleted they are and COVID and everything that's going on. But an interesting name became available the other day. Brashad Breeland from the Vikings was released. Now, just listen to Brashad Breeland. He's been a very good cornerback in this league for a long time. Still looked good in Minnesota. Now, to the point of why he was released. It was released because some confrontations with coaches and players, which is usually a no-no for the Ravens. But push comes to shove. You're in a playoff chase. You're completely depleted at secondary. If somehow you can make this work under the cap situation, the money do you have? Is this a no-brainer, or do you stay away from it? Go ahead, Ryan.
Is he vaccinated? Minnesota had like nobody vaccinated. So like, if he's not vaccinated at this point with all the bullshit going on, he's not worth it. If he is, come in, find out why he got into a fight. Maybe he got into a fight because somebody that was unvaccinated was coughing on him. I don't give a shit. Let's find out why, what happened. Let's talk to the boy. But we need no chances of COVID. It's already eating people alive across the league.
Yeah, it's a good point. Couch, what do you feel?
Yeah, I'll say that too. There's a reason
why. It's a very productive player.
It's a reason he's a productive player. There's a reason why he kind of has been kind of bouncing around a little bit too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're sitting there saying there's an attitude issue, you already know. Like, so on one flip of the coin, if it was like if you told me that like Marlon was still playing,
right,
and Jimmy was fine, but it was COVID this week, Jimmy was fine, then I'm saying absolutely not, no.
Right.
But with how injured you are, like like you said, you're using practice squad players,
right?
Practice squad junior players,
right? JV squad.
Yeah, obviously, go ahead and take the veteran, but is it really worth it?
Yeah.
James,
what do you feel?
I feel probably Harbaugh is going to go in the locker room and ask his players, "Hey guys, How do you feel? How do you feel? Do we like this guy? Should we bring him in? I think he can do good for us.
Hey,
we won't have to go for 2. We can probably intercept
Green
the
Bay
ball.
forgot to ask Aaron and fucking ruined it. So might as well ask some people.
Scott, what's your thoughts?
I don't hate the idea if it comes at a low cost, right? If I'm doing it, I'm coming in and saying, hey, look. First, I'm having that conversation. What happened? Get his side of the story.
Yeah.
The second part of it is I'm addressing. Okay, look, we want to come in and we want to see how you look in this defense. We know that this is one of the most complex defenses, historically this season and the past few seasons. Can he come in and learn it quickly and be a productive member in that secondary? If he gets in there, sign him to a practice squad deal. Let him practice on the practice squad this week. See what happens. Then you have a depth piece. If somebody goes down this week, he can wind up coming up for the following week. But at the same time, if he doesn't look good, you're not into it for anything that's going to hurt your salary cap.
Yeah, so I see the note out there that the Ravens did sign Darrell Worley. It looks like a couple minutes ago before we went live. I don't know a whole lot about him. I can't really speak to what he would bring in talent. But the Breland move is, again, a guy who was a Pro Bowler, who is still a very productive player. And I would just have that conversation. I think Ryan brings up a great point. If there's any risk of COVID and he's not vaccinated or whatever, then you don't even have the conversation.
Cut ties, yeah.
Yeah, you don't even worry about it. But if he is vaccinated, I think it's worth at least the conversation. You're at the end of your year. You're chasing the playoffs. If you're really ambitious and you think this player is going to help you get to that goal, you got 2 games in the division coming up that you have to win in order to get to the playoffs, right? He would help. So if you tell him, we're going to sign you, we're going to make it work for us financially, and any bullshit, we're cutting ties immediately with you, and he understands that, and he's going to chase the ring for these next couple of weeks, then go for it. I think it makes sense, but again, if there is a lot of risk with him, so I understand why some people would be hesitant as to why to do it.
Steve chimes in, kind of says what I was saying. Any player willing to humble themselves to the practice squad is a good move. To me, virtually zero risk.
Agreed.
And that's what you're looking at. So I think that's the way to go here if you can make it happen.
Go ahead, James.
Doesn't it also work where the Vikings are still don't they still pay him because he was cut?
It would cost us some kind of really small minimum.
Yeah, it wouldn't cost us much money at all. I don't think it would be an issue with us working it out with the cap. It's more so, again, just having that out clause that if he causes any shit, you want to be able to get rid of that if you can.
They're talking about the Vikings. I think anybody wants to get out of the Vikings.
Oh, that's true, too. That's true. I'll definitely tell Cook if he wants to come.
Exactly.
So we got to talk about this Bengals game, man. Again, this is an absolute must-win game, right? Now you got the Bengals sitting in first place in the AFC North due to the division record right now. Bengals come in with the 16th ranked total offense in the league, 11th in pass and 20th in rush. On the defensive side, same thing. 15th ranked defense. They're right in the middle of the league in both. 26th versus the pass, so we have opportunity there. But they're 5th against the rush. We are still number 1 versus the rush as a defense, even with all the injuries and shit that we've had this year. But you got, again, Cincinnati coming in 5th against the rush. This is a team that obviously stuck it to us here at the bank. Burrow seems to have
Still
our number.
hurts.
He seems to take his game up another notch when playing against us. There's already been shit talking going on social media.
With Eli fucking Apple.
He started talking shit before our games even went off on Sunday.
Right, exactly.
Like, you don't even know if you're going to make it through this game without getting injured, dumbass.
Exactly. Go ahead, James.
I just found this out the other day. I didn't know the Bengals didn't have an indoor practice facility. You know they practice all their games outside?
Wow, I did
Well,
not
they're-
know
Because
that.
their owner's a stingy bastard.
That's incredible,
But it's pretty smart, though, because you think about it, all the majority of their football games are against AFC North teams, and none of the AFC North teams have domes. They're all outside, and they're all in the cold environment.
As you
so-
say, they're all going to be in similar, in a situation, so it's not
Right.
a huge deal there.
I'm just saying that's
interesting. That's an interesting footnote.
The Terps will rent it out for him.
Look, Joe Burrow, you mentioned him and how well he's doing. 8th in passing yardage, 3,640 yards, 26 TDs, but 14 interceptions, which opportunity there with that turnover, that -3 turnover differential between the two teams. There's wiggle room here.
Yeah, I would like that if we had our number 1 cornerback, our number 2 cornerback, even our number 3 cornerback out there. Although we will,
Anthony Averett is
we
out
will
there.
have Anthony Averett out there. But you just never know. COVID could bite at any second and we lose the whole fucking gambit. I mean, it's just such a gamble right now.
Somebody go cough on Joe Burrow, please.
Right. But we got to remember what Jamar Chase did to this defense when it was decently healthy, when Marlon Humphrey was out there. You know, he tore us a new asshole, and he's been tearing the league up this year. 61 catches for 1,038 yards, 10 touchdowns. Now, mind you, 15 of those catches of the 61 have been for 20-plus yards. So this guy is a big play threat.
Yards after the catch, too.
All the questions in the offseason and in the preseason about his hands being an issue, and I mean, that shit's gone away. This guy is an elite receiver, will be a top 5 receiver for a very long time. That combo of Burrow and Chase is going to be something to watch.
How much
for
are
a
other
while.
teams biting themselves for not taking him when they
Right.
had the opportunity and allowing him to get with his college quarterback that put him in elite situations? And here you go, they're just doing it again. But it's not just Jamar Chase; it's T. Higgins too. T. Higgins has done well. 59 receptions, 835 yards, 4 TDs. There's a huge possibility they're going to have 2 guys with 60+ receptions and 1,000+ yards by the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And it's not just them. I mean, we talked about like Green Bay not really having a ton of options. The options that they have are very good, but not a ton of options. And obviously you had Aaron Rodgers. This team's got 3 legit wide receivers. You got Chase, Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd should painfully bring back memories for some Ravens fans because Tyler Boyd has been a thorn in our side for a while.
He had the game-winning touchdown, and it was like a 60-yarder against Denver last week.
Exactly. So this guy is still playing at an elite level. And again, when you've got the likes of Chase and Higgins taking away some of your best cornerbacks, Tyler Boyd, you can't forget about him for sure. Go ahead, James.
Real quick, I just remembered the Packers played the Bengals and went to overtime. Their game was close too. It was 25-22. So for the Bengals playing the Packers the way they did, and us playing the Packers the way they did,
that was that shit show of
where they all missed field goals and extra points over
and
and
this
over
today
and
guy
over.
thought like he made it. Like, hey, bro, you
Flag.
So the other big thing I'm looking
for, pretty good, by the way. I don't mean to cut off that kicker they have. If it comes down to kicking field
McPherson?
goals, boy,
Yeah.
he can match Justin right now.
Well, we're
I'm just
not
saying.
using Justin
I'm not going to
anymore.
put him up in that
We're not-
regard, but
we're
he's
not
definitely a
using-
good kicker.
I'm just saying
We're
the
not
guy
using
the
Justin.
literal-
He's been hitting some long ones. I'll give that.
The
Damn.
guy's money from 50.
Make him earn
Yeah.
it first, Drew.
So one
Hey, just saying, in this game, watch out for that shit.
One of the things I'm watching for in this game, you're talking a lot about the receivers. I want to see this defense do what they did to Joe Mixon the last time. The last time Joe Mixon was in town, he had 12 carries and only 59 yards. He did have the 1 TD that was up close. They had two rushing TDs between him and Samaje Perine, but they held them to 111 yards total between the two of them.
Yeah, but he threw for like a third of his yardage this season against us in one game. It was like 1,000 yards he had in the air.
416 yards. I get it. But I still want them to. What you can't do is focus on those guys and then let Mixon run all over you.
But again, the Ravens have the number 1 rush defense in the league right now. So the rushing part of it is the least of my concerns. You know that this team can spread it out with the best of them. And again, you're going to have targets all over the field with a JV secondary going against them. It doesn't bode well for the Ravens. The Ravens did, against the Packers, have the benefit of the crowd and the M&T Bank and all of that. They're going on the road. They're going to do this in Cincinnati. And listen, Cincinnati is hungry for a playoff run, for a division title against one of the teams that they cannot stand the most in the Ravens. I mean, you'll see on social media, Bengal fans cannot stand Raven fans. So this is going to mean something extra to them. They're going to be amped up for it. It's going to be a loud environment. So there's a lot to factor in.
And the
this
Ravens,
game.
2.5-point underdogs. It's going to be interesting to watch. So, all right, let's get into our prime time predictions.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Sponsored by Liquor Stop.
Sponsored by Liquor Stop. This week's Liquor Stop Brew of the Week comes from Schlafly Brewing Company.
Bless you.
Yeah, they're out of St. Louis, Missouri. This is their oatmeal stout, 5.7. Stouts are not usually my thing. They say this is a classic British stout brewed with oatmeal flakes and roasted barley, fresh and roasted coffee beans,
Where's
cocoa,
the cream
and-
center? I need an oatmeal cream pie.
and
not an
touches
oatmeal
of raisin
stout.
and dried fruit. It dominated. It's a year round. Look, stouts are not my my thing. This one's not bad. It's drinkable. It's just not a chuggable beer. You know, you're sipping. This is definitely a sipping type beer. You're not running, you know, and pounding a six pack of this.
Beer's not real.
It's not real. Sorry, kiddos. I keep clanking on the microphone.
I've
Jesus.
been over here, I've been over here holding the microphone away from my face every now and then because I cannot stop laughing at his beer jumping up and down when he talks.
But
It itches every time it does it, too.
so the other thing that we did get hooked up with this week was another bottle.
Jesus, what a shit show.
This is the Jim Beam Bourbon Cream they've got up there. They got plenty of this stuff. They also have a bunch of different Jim Beam, and he asked me to mention that they have a bunch of gift packs. So if you need a last minute gift and you need to give it to some friends
For
some
those
family,
alcoholic friends.
for an
you know.
alcoholic friend,
We all have them.
Make sure, hey, don't talk
Some
about me
more
like
than
that.
others.
Make sure you head out to Liquor Stop 1510 Conowingo Road. Let them know that Birdland BS sent you. Get you 10% off. All right. Now that we're done clanking bottles all over the place, let's get.
Oh, that is not where we're going.
Not where we're going at all.
pressed
We
that.
forgot the prediction sauce.
We're going to go first.
We're just amateur hour.
Listen,
amateur hour.
New year. Coming
Social
up.
media first. Let's get it going. We're not playing that drop twice.
Yeah.
All right,
Get out of the way.
guys.
Go ahead, Ryan.
It is time, whether you like it or not, for a social media shout out.
Because Fred hit the button by accident.
Ryan, who's been out the chat room, man?
You know, we can't. If you want to add a comment, those could be in the primetime predictions. Sorry, guys. First this week is a Mr. David Missler, Nick Short, Ryan Hewitt, William Sable, Chuck Summers, Kaylee Shamel, Jacob Paul, Joe Carlozo, Craig Zero, Michael Rash, Travis Whitfield, George Foreman, who tells me Bateman wants out. I was really shocked at the limited use of Bateman after when Snoop came in relief of Lamar. He kind of hyper-targeted Bateman, and I thought being a practice, the second string guy, he had worked more with Bateman maybe than he had some of the other receivers. So I was shocked to see his limited use. I don't know if you have any takes on the Bateman
listen,
situation.
I think there's a lot of hype around the change. Oh,
Let me
Jesus
stop
Christ.
it. It's our system. Sorry, guys.
We got to fix this
There we
system.
go.
There's a lot of
We hit reset on the.
there's been way too much talk about Bateman wanting out of here and all that stuff. He's going through the typical, I was a number one in college and I dominated the field and I got all the catches and all that stuff, and working his way into an NFL offense. He's going to have his peaks. He's going to have his valleys. He's going to have his frustrations, and he's going to be happy at times too. Last week, he just went over 100 yards for the first time. He came up a half an inch short of his first touchdown. Bateman, I understand the frustration, but don't get it twisted. He doesn't want out of here. Things will work out. Again, year one of a 5-year rookie deal.
He just misses the co-eds.
That could be true.
So I got Joshua Walker, Adit Mahood, Flock Nation, and Samuel L. Jackson, who says most NFL teams would have tanked with all the injuries. I agree. Except for the Ravens. The nobody cares, work harder. This team is capable of beating anyone. I mean, they kind of showed that this week. It's a flipping miracle run if you can make it through the playoffs with this ragtag bunch. So I still kind of wish we would have folded, but they sure showed they can beat anybody with some JV players. So I don't know. Who knows what happens?
Yeah.
All right.
It's amazing what the coaches can do.
Yeah. All right. Let's now move on to Fred's primetime predictions, since he likes to hit the social media button. Primetime predictions. Let's start with the Thursday night game. We'll get to the Ravens in a little bit. Yep. Thursday night, it's actually a 8 o'clock game. 49ers, who are 8-6, they head into Tennessee, who are 9-5, which is a surprising 9-5, the way that we've seen their up and down season. Kind of an under the radar kind of 9-5. So, Fred, let's start with you. Yeah. Where are you going in this game? Who you got picked?
This is one of the games that I went against the grain, because I got to make up some ground here. I did not do very good last week with my picks, but
Fred was 1-5 with his picks last week, just so we're clear.
Titans have not looked very good since Derrick Henry went down. Ryan Tannehill looked awful this past week in their loss. 49ers, they've got weapons, man. And Deebo Samuel, I had a lot of doubts about him, whether he was going to be able to last and be a true, NFL talent. This kid is legit. He's helped solidify our fantasy team that Ryan and I have
I won
together.
that argument.
Yeah.
I was like, let's get Debo here. No, I don't know if I like him.
Just something about him I didn't like. I thought he had like this Taysom Hill where they're going to try to use him as a gadget kind of guy, but it's
They
really,
did,
really
but he's
worked
good at
out.
all of them.
He is. He's very good. I listen, in reality, I think the 49ers are going to win this game, but because I need to make up ground here, I'm going to go Titans 24-19 in this game.
So to be clear, Fred is 35-23 along with
Yeah,
Drew.
I'm making
Drew
my
made
comeback.
Mr. 5-1 over there.
5-1 over here, 1-5. I'm making my huge comeback.
Yeah, he is. But they're both 35-23. Ryan also gained a game, 37-21. But James is still up there, 41-17 on the season with his picks. So we joked around early in the season. Don't put your money on James. I'd put your money on whatever James is picking at this point.
I'll eat crow at the end of the year on that for sure.
So, all right. So for me, I look at this game, and the one guy that you named is the guy that's on my fantasy team too, in Debo. I think him and Jimmy Garoppolo just have a connection. I know he can't. Debo went down with the injury the 1 week, came back. Everybody was worried. All right, he's not going to come back to what he was. He was fine. Came back, putting points on the board, and that connection is just there. They have the stable of running backs. Kyle Juszczyk is able to be out there and be a force to reckon with at fullback, and at times acting like a tight end. I see this being an easy 49ers win, 35-21. Ryan, what do you have?
I got the ho-ho 49ers going 27-17. I just think they're a better team. The Titans have fallen apart. Without Derrick Henry, they're an average to below average team.
James, what do you got?
This is one team that when they get in the playoffs, they're going to be a deadly team to be reckoned. They're getting healthy all at the right times. Everybody's coming back. You got Kittles, you got Debo, you got who's the other wide receiver?
Ayuk.
I like that you add S's to everyone's name every now and
and
then.
Debo, he's a running back. No one can stop him. They put him in the backfield. They always
shops
hand him the
at
ball.
Walmarts.
They always hand him the ball, and no one can tackle him. He always scores touchdowns. So I have this game 37-24. Titans are just going down with the Ravens. That's
All right. Well, Drew, what do you got?
I got the Niners winning. I'm hoping I'm gonna say it's a score of 30-21, but I'm really hoping it's like 6-0, and Debo doesn't do a damn thing because I'm probably facing you guys. So
Here's the thing: when you're playing Debo, it feels like Debo's.
I'm gonna jump off that. 30. No, but it's serious. Yeah. So I got the Niners winning. Like you said, Titans. I mean, they have just as much injury issues as the Ravens. Like you said, there's no Derrick Henry. That was what they hitched their card on. And then you got the fact that even though he was a shell of himself and never really did anything, Julio's pretty much done now for the year. There might not even be getting A.J. Brown back.
Right.
Like, it's just they have so many issues with that. And their defense was really bad, did really good. They got them to that point, but now it's showing its ugly head. So I think the way the 49ers up, it's a team of there's a team going up and there's a team that's falling down. The team that's going up is going to keep on going up.
I got you.
All right.
I like it. So let's go with the first early game on Saturday. We got the 7-7 Browns going into Green Bay to take on the NFL leading Green Bay Packers at this point at 11-3. Listen, I don't think this is going to be much of a game. Obviously, the Browns have been dealing with all kinds of COVID issues and whatnot. The Packers are just rolling. They're going home in Green Bay. We don't even know who's going to be starting at quarterback for Cleveland at this point. I got the Packers winning this one. It'll be. I think it'll be worse than this, but I got it at close, 30-24. Probably end up being more lopsided than that.
All right. For me, I look at this game. I see the Packers. They want to come back with a vengeance because they lost, but that's going to be almost to their detriment. Notice I said almost to their detriment. I think this is going to be a close game as long as we continue to see the Browns players get healthy by Thursday, because I think the cutoff for that Saturday game is Thursday, since Friday is normally the Sunday cutoff. So it'll be interesting to see who is fully available. But with what they showed, I think the Packers showed some weakness and Tyler exposed some things, and even from a defense or from an offensive standpoint, some ways to stop him later in the game when you think you have to worry about him. You can do some things to stop him. So I've got the Packers winning this again. Very tight game, 28-24 Packers.
We're gonna go to the couch. Drew, what do you got in this game?
I'll go with the Packers in this one. Let me find the score. Packers 27-20.
Okay.
I'm with you guys. Maybe we showed some flaws in their systems. Otherwise, I probably would have called it as a much bigger game.
Right.
But there is still a lot of question marks with Cleveland. Just the fact that all right, you get a bunch of these players back from COVID, but that's still like a layoff from not really playing or really practicing for this whole time. Yeah. On top of that, your quarterback has already been sitting there super injured. So did the break help him, or did it just make him a little bit more rusty?
Right.
So that's my thing too. They lost. Granted, he's kind of a piece, but they lost McKinley. He tore his Achilles. Maybe if Clowney's back from the COVID,
right.
But even Myles Garrett came up limping in that game. So if that's something that lingers, or if he doesn't play at all, heaven forbid, then he's going to have a lot of time in the pocket. So 27-20.
James, what do you got?
The Packers are playing on the frozen tundra on Christmas Day. So I had the Packers winning this 34-23.
Super easy. All
Man
right.
of few words. What do you got, Ryan?
I'm the contrarian on this one.
Oh, man.
I don't want it to happen because obviously it helps us if anybody in the division loses. But I just think that if anyone's built to beat the Packers, it might be the Browns, because you beat the Packers by keeping Aaron Rodgers off the field. You do that by running the ball. Latavius Murray looked pretty damn good against that Packers defense. Can you imagine what Nick Chubb and maybe Kareem Hunt coming back could do to that defense?
That's a good point.
They could really eat. Also, you can't blitz Aaron, as we said earlier, but they have the edge rush to do it without the blitz. So that's another thing that goes in their favor. So if anybody could do it, it's them. The Packers will probably win, but I'm going to take the Browns here 24-21. If it's a close game, they win, but the Browns could get blown out.
Okay. All right. I hope you're absolutely wrong.
All right.
Whatever.
Let's go to the Sunday night game. Saturday night game. This will be an interesting one to watch for sure, especially with the weeks that both these teams had. As the Colts, coming off a fresh win over the Patriots, are 8-6 in the playoff hunt. They're taking off the Cardinals, who are 10-4 and just lost to the Lions.
Yeah.
You talk about a team that seems like they're falling apart. We'll see what happens. Let's start with the couch. James, who do you got winning this game?
I have.
He's not even in the shot.
I don't know what is going on right
What
now.
is happening?
31-27. Jonathan Taylor's a real deal, and that's all I have to say.
Did I fucking miss something?
Apparently I did,
I'm
too.
sitting back here, and I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Drew, what do you got going on in this game?
Doesn't matter at this point what I could go on. I got Colts 30-27. I mean, he said it. Justin Taylor.
Justin Tucker,
Jonathan Taylor
together.
Jonathan Taylor, he's rolling right now. I mean, when you watch that run he had to break off and put the dagger to Patriots, the shit he can do with that shit is just amazing to watch. Cardinals are coming off a huge loss. That was their first loss on the road, and so up until that point, their three losses were at home, and they were in prime time games or were like big spotlight games. So here's another big spotlight game. I think they're starting to cave. I think they're going to lose that division to the Rams.
All right,
good point.
Let's go to Ryan and figure out what the fuck we're missing at this point, because we can't see him.
I was so mad that I didn't have my Santa outfit in the picture. I was trying to see if I could step up. So James was over there making fun of me before it ever happened. He should have made fun of me after this happened.
But they were the only two in on it. That was
Apparently, yeah, exactly.
Funny. So anyway, I got the Colts. The Colts are going to win 20-17. And I just think that the Colts have been on a run. Jonathan Taylor, he had a bad game and still ended up with huge points with that huge last touchdown to seal it. So you can't really beat him right now. I think they'll take care of the business.
He's number one.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals are falling apart.
The Cards were, they had a bad game, obviously losing to the Lions, but it took us, a miracle field goal to beat.
You might as well keep the theme and stand up, by the way.
I'm not standing up. I just got my bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad shirt on.
That's what it was.
Norwell. Listen, the Cardinals, I still hold in very high regard, and my fantasy team relies on that statement. So I think the Cardinals will figure it out. Again, going home is a game that they need to win to make sure that they hang on to that number one, they're fighting for that number one overall seed with the Packers, right? If they want to stay in contention with that, they got to win this game. Carson Wentz had a really rough game. Thanks to Jonathan Taylor, they won last week, and it was only Jonathan Taylor that got them that win. I think the Cardinals bounce back. It'll be a close one, but I got them winning 27-23, so I'll be the solo guy on this one.
And for me, I got the Colts winning this one. I think they've got too much momentum. They showed up well against the Patriots, who've been a tough team to beat the past several weeks. Really, the past 2 months, they were on a hot streak, and the Colts really were able to show what you can do. And with the Cards coming off, I know that they're at home, but at the same time, it's just one of those things that I think you can't stop the momentum of either team. One going up, one going down. Kind of what Drew was saying with the other game. I got Colts 31-24 in this game.
James got a quick statement. Go
Real
ahead.
quick, do you think he'll show up in that elf outfit?
Who?
Murray.
That would be hilarious if he did. I doubt it, but it would be
I don't
hilarious.
think he wants to be in on the joke.
No, I don't think he does either. All right, let's go on to the Ravens game. We've been
The one
talking
that
about it
matters.
for a while. The one that everybody cares about in these primetime games, even though it's not primetime. It's primetime to us because it's a must-win situation. Ravens sitting at 8-6, going up to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, who are also 8-6, but have the division breaker right now, so lead the AFC North. I'll start this one off. I don't like our chances. And for all the reasons that I've already stated, with the depletion in the secondary, all the weapons that Burrow has, the intensity I think that the Cincinnati crowd will create even more communication issues. You talked about like how Geno Stone and the communication went pretty smoothly. Yeah. Well, that was in a pretty quiet stadium at home, right? With Cincinnati and the fans being ruckus, things are going to be a little bit more difficult. I think that'll be a challenge. Hopefully they get Chuck Clark back and some other pieces back.
The stadium was
COVID.
quiet against the Packers?
I mean, at times, yes,
Okay.
at times.
I was going to say.
At times. But I just think Cincinnati, again, has weapons all over the field. And if you do focus on those three guys that you talked about, the three wide receivers, Joe Mixon can tear you apart, right? So I think it's just a tall task for this defense. I got the Bengals winning at 33-30. I think Tyler Huntley still has a great game, puts up a lot of points, but
I do think that this is a game, whether he's healthy or not, that you have him. You wind up having him start. I think it's one of those things that it's going to be tight. I think the Ravens, from a defensive standpoint, want to come in and prove something, especially because you just knocked out almost knocked out the MVP, what many people are calling the MVP in Aaron Rodgers. I think you showed what they can do. It's going to be tight. This was literally a flip of a coin, a one-score flip of the coin. It's going to be a last-minute touchdown, but I am going the Ravens here. I think that they can pull it together. Huntley has shown his ability to come back in a game and almost win the game, and I think in this game they've got something to prove offensively as well. They want to show that what they were held to in the 17 points the last time we took on the Bengals just was a fluke. And whether it's Lamar, whether it's Huntley, I really truly think that the Ravens have a shot here. So 28-21. For me. Let's go over to Ryan. Ryan, what do you have on this one?
Snoop's going to take care of business. And our defense is going to show up again for the second time this year. They showed up against the Chargers and made a miracle appearance. And I just feel like they got so embarrassed last time that this is the game they can do that again. So I got it in kind of a butt kicking at 24-12, hold them to all field goals. Let's see.
All right, let's see. Let's go over to the couch. James, how do you see this game going?
Well, I think the only reason why they're taking Tucker is just to kick off because they're not going to use him.
I only got one field goal in that for us.
I'm hoping this game is pretty close, but I think it's going to get ugly because Burrow didn't do too well in Denver and got the win. So I have a close game, 27-23, but could get ugly in Cincinnati. They're licking their chops to take this division. This could be the opportunity to do it.
All right, Drew, what do you see happening?
I picked the score just to be funny and reverse though. Jesus Christ!
I gotta get this thing
off.
It's driving me crazy.
You good?
Let's go to Fred for a second. He's taking it. He's taking it off.
I'm done with it.
Santa shaved.
God damn
Santa
it.
shaved.
I went way longer than I thought it was going to go.
Jesus.
We got Orange Chopper here now.
Choking to
So-
death over here.
I'll go with the Ravens, and I went with a score of 31-30 just to be funny, just to reverse the roles from the Packers score.
But do they win on a 2-point conversion attempt?
I didn't go that far. I know sometimes I start going, well, there's the weather, it's going to snow and all that. I usually throw out some weird predictions. I didn't this time around. I still think, they did what they did the first game, but I still think the Bengals are not quite there yet. and they do find way. I thought they were going to end up losing that game against Denver from when I was score watching, but they do seem to kind of find a way to lose some of these games. Like they could have beat the Packers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they find. I just think it happens again. I think they find a way to lose this game. We win.
Right.
All right. Joe Carlos says his kids are crying now. Why did Santa take off his beard?
I'm sorry, kiddo.
Way to ruin it. Well,
Joe, why are they still awake?
Shit, I'm doing this.
Put them to bed. Why are they still awake, Joe?
Oh, man. All right, let's go. We're going to do this one quick because it was a clean sweep. I'll just say that. Sunday night, 8:20, you got the WTFs versus the Cowboys. WTF 6-7, Cowboys 10-4. It is a clean sweep for the Cowboys. Ain't no questions. And I believe everybody except for Fred has this being more than a one-score game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a rivalry game, right? And again, you got the COVID fucking protocol that you just don't know how it's going to rear its ugly head. Dak Prescott has not been playing very good football. I mean, yeah, they played the Giants. They beat the Giants. What do you do? But besides that, he has not looked good for a while. And I need you to play better, Dak, like badly. My fantasy team also depends on you.
Yeah, but I need the Cowboys defense to keep playing well.
But I think the Cowboys will do enough. Again, the quarterback carousel right now in Washington's ugly. We don't even know who's going to be starting there. I think the Cowboys will win it, but it'll be a close game, 24-23.
I don't even have it being close. 36-17. Dak is back to form, and I think that they get the run game back going again, and the defense is able to step up. So 36-17. Ryan, what do you got?
24-17. We'll keep it quick.
All right,
There you go.
James, what do you get?
We are on defense, so that's Mark Parsons on defense.
Dude's a beast.
He is.
He's going to be probably defensive player of the year.
Sucks that team couldn't win any games with all that talent on defense.
34-17 I have, and they win games.
Drew, what do you got?
23-10 Cowboys. Washington sucks.
All right.
Got Oweh and Parsons and could only win like 3 games. How's that happen?
And the final game we'll
have
just say the final game Monday night.
Penn State.
Dolphins 7-7, Saints 7-7. Interesting that we're saying Dolphins are 7-7 at this point. It's an interesting statement here.
That record actually kind of surprised me when I was looking at the number. I was like, damn, they're playing better football than I thought they were.
They are. So here's what I'll do. Who wants to speak on the behalf of those who picked the Saints?
We all picked the Saints.
Nope.
I mean, I'll take the Saints. That's
Okay,
fine.
go ahead. Why? What about the Saints?
I mean, I don't think the Dolphins are very good. I think their defense has been feast or famine on interceptions. I think that the Saints don't have to throw the ball. They can run with Taysom Hill. They can run with Kamara and never give them the chance to take the ball away. And so I think the Saints are going to win it 27-24.
Saints defense also just held.
They destroyed
Tampa Bay and held Tom Brady. By the way, so your score was what?
27-24.
Drew,
23-14.
James,
21-17.
18-13 Saints. So what the fuck are you smoking that you're picking the Dolphins?
Again,
Come to that score.
I'm playing from behind here, right? So I got to make up some ground. But I also think a couple of things. You can't rate a whole lot on the Bucs and the Saints game because that's a division rival. They know each other's inside and out as far as how they're going to play and whatnot. So the 9-0 game, I don't really read a whole lot into. I think the Saints defense is good. But I don't think their offense is consistent enough with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill hasn't looked good. He's just had a couple of big plays that have kept him in games, and they won 9-0. You know, if Tom Brady goes out there and makes 2 plays in this game that he didn't make, then we're talking about another loss for the Saints. I think the Dolphins are playing inspired football. Again, I've thought that they've played good. I just didn't realize that they were at 500. And now, with the AFC, especially in the wild card being as tight as it is, there's incentive for them to try to just get into the playoffs.
You just
right?
saw the
And
Patriots
anything
lose.
can happen, right?
Yeah.
I think the Dolphins will play this game tight. Again, I'm playing from behind here, right? So that's the reason I'm going here. But I think the Dolphins win it in a close game, 23-20.
All right, let's move it along.
All right, Ryan, it's time for some Shell and Tell talk.
Santa's home. Let's go.
Let's do the damn thing. Men's Hoop Squad, not a whole lot to talk about right now with this week. I mean, they didn't play any games. I don't think they play another game until the 28th against Loyola at home. So not a whole lot to talk about there, but we got to talk about an event that we went to a couple of weeks ago that was for a good cause. I'll let you kind of fill in the blanks.
Yeah, we relate this here because we actually won some tickets to that game on the 28th to Loyola at a raffle. At a Movember event we were invited to by a Shell and Tell fan. It was down at Stone Sally's Whiskey Dollar. Yeah. Not a strip club.
No.
I was scared driving down
I was
there.
100% convinced it was a strip club.
Fred was convincing me we were driving to a strip club for a benefit dinner. And
Golden
I
dollar? I
was not sure
mean-
how that was going to go.
Nah, but it was a good event, man. It raised a lot of money for a good cause. The people down there, Lee and his crew that puts this event together does a really, really good job. The food was absolutely amazing. I can't remember the name of the catering company that they used, but I will definitely get that information and pass it along because, they had the pig.
Whole pig roast.
Whole pig, laid out on a spread.
Mac and cheese like crazy.
Mac and cheese was bomb.
Homemade barbecue sauce.
Oh,
ridiculous.
my God. It was so good. They had coolers of beer. It was just a really, really good event. They had a lot of giveaways that they were doing. To Ryan's point, we did win some Terps basketball tickets for the 28th. So depending upon what happens with this bowl game, if this football bowl game gets canceled and fans can't go, I'm assuming they're not going to allow basketball fans either.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with these tickets. But
Yeah. Right now, the plan is Fred and I will be in New York City. So my wife and some of her friends and maybe the girls end up
So
going.
apparently, with what you were describing, Joe Carlozo says, "Fat kid's dream."
That kid's dream. There we go.
absolutely, absolutely.
Rocking the Santa.
But we got to also give a shout out to Game Castle. So Game Castle, the owner, Boyd, was at this event as well, also supported the cause. We got to meet him and talk to him for a while. He's a good guy. And, for you guys that live in the College Park area, for you alumni or for, current students out there that are looking for a shop to be able to pick up those, rainy night, late night games, things you want to do for fun, maybe you can add your own drinking twist to it. This is the place to go. They got a ton of board games, everything that you can imagine. They've got it. And if they don't, I'm sure they've got the catalog to be able to make it happen for you. Get down to Game Castle. It's not far from the campus.
Yeah, we met this guy Boyd at the November event. And
Yeah.
they raised $2,381 at that event and $7,000 for the year for the
Unreal.
good cause. So all these people were great people for a great cause. The store is actually right down on Route 1 at College Park Marketplace. It's where the Home Depot and the Shoppers, the Best Buy are.
Yeah.
Right as you get off 495 to go to the game. If you've ever been to a game, you've seen this marketplace. It's 4748 Cherry Hill Road in College Park. We've been playing a lot of board games recently with the COVID world. We play Settlers of Catan.
Yeah.
We played Sequence the other night.
Yeah.
Settlers of Catan and Up is kind of what you're looking at this Game Castle. I'm sure they have.
That's
some other
about the
games
limit of my
randomly.
brain capacity of Settlers of Catan. And I'm talking like the entry level.
We gotta play Risk one day.
Definitely
We
more
gotta play
especially
Risk.
the Risk, the cool
God, we
version
got
of that,
to.
things like that. But Boyd seems like a good guy. They actually have a bunch of Maryland students on staff, including members of the Maryland Marching Band, who either hate or love Shell and Tell. We all know the history.
Depending on who you
that
talk
they
to.
have with our podcast.
Right.
So, go out and support them. They all seem
Is it
like
with the
good
podcast or with Ryan?
people. It's me.
It might be right. 4748 Cherry Hill Road, College Park, Maryland, 20740. Get down there. Tell Boyd that Shell and Tell sent you. Maybe he'll hook you up. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
we
talk
haven't
to him.
organized that, but depending on how many you show up, they might organize that.
That's right. All right, man. But before we talk about the bowl game in itself and some of the things going on with the football squad, we got to talk a little bit about some pro news, man. And we hadn't talked about Jake Funk in a while. Reason being is that he went out with a pretty serious hamstring injury that I'm pretty sure would have taken out about 95% of the running backs in the NFL for the entire year. But this is Jake Funk that we're talking about. And this kid has some unexplainable healing powers.
Yeah, I don't understand. He gets unexplainably injured. He gets unexplainably healed.
Yeah.
This guy's got all this. Was as far as I was heard, it was supposed to be a season-ending hamstring injury and somehow, tear. Yeah, like possible surgery needed.
Right.
And somehow he's back on their active roster this week. Congratulations to him. I hope he gets some opportunities. It's huge for him to be back on the field this early.
Yeah.
Isn't his brother the one that like rehabs him and like 'cause you guys we
Dr.
talked about
Josh
that before?
Funk of Rehab to Perform.
Because you guys had him on Showdown. Remember hearing that
exactly.
episode and you guys talking about him and like
you wanna
all
know
the
more
stuff that
about
he
the
does.
Funk family? Check out that episode.
Absolutely.
there you go.
Get ready to say
Look right here.
Actually, I was getting ready to say that. Actually, Dr. Funk and I'm sure his crew down there, I mean, they do amazing things, and I'm sure they had their part in getting Jake ready for this. But it's just amazing for him to be coming back this early. And again, the Rams are getting ready to make a playoff run, so who knows? Jake right now with the way, obviously they lost Cam Akers in the beginning of the year. Darrell Henderson's been struggling a little bit, dealing with some injuries of himself.
Yep.
Jake
Michelle
Funk
got
might
a big shot already, so he could be the next one.
Jake Funk might get a little run, especially come playoff time. We'll see. But let's talk about the football squad a little bit, man. My boy, Chig Okonkwo, got a special honors. He's actually headed to the East-West Shrine Bowl. That's pretty cool, man. This is an important bowl for players to showcase their talent to all the NFL scouts. Obviously, you know, they're looking at tape throughout the year and whatnot, and they've been scouting these guys. But for some of these guys that maybe flew under the radar a little bit, or maybe their offense or defense didn't utilize them in the right way, this is a place for them to showcase their talent, kind of like a pre-NFL combine type thing. So this is a big get for Chig to be able to be invited to this.
Yeah, I mean, the Shrine Bowl is America's longest running college football all-star game. They got basically all 32 teams show up there with their NFL scouts. It's being played at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, which is kind of cool because the NFL draft's going to be there, shortly thereafter. So I think that's kind of cool connection.
Right.
And I just think that Chig's one of those guys that can really benefit from getting in front of the NFL scouts. Because like Ahmed said on our latest show and tell, when it's a fringe guy, like, the personality matters. The interactions matter. The fact that this guy's not going to be a problem in your locker room. You get to know him on a personal basis and realize how cool a head he is, how much work he's done, and just get to know the person in the interview process more than what's on the field. You don't get to learn those things about a person on game film.
Right.
And so I really think this could benefit him getting out there. Of course, he missed last year with all his heart issues going on, so he needs a little bit more tape. He looks NFL ready with the highlights he has, but it's good to get him this bowl game he's playing in versus Virginia Tech later this week, and then also this Shrine game. Hopefully can perform well in both, really catch some attention because he's already said he's going to the NFL draft and foregoing the rest of his college eligibility next year.
Yeah, man. So good luck to Chig, man. Go down there, show out, do big things. We are all big supporters of you. We know you'll do well, so we're excited for it. We also got some news this week around the offensive line. We've been talking, for a while that we think that this offensive line had the potential to come back and be even, another level better than they were this year, which they played really well. And knock on wood for us, they stayed very healthy this year throughout. One big piece of that, Jahari Branch, going to end up returning and protecting Talia for one more year.
Yeah, Branch was one of those signees in the 2020 class, the 4 out of Independence College, and we just went pulling from Netflix U.
Right.
So since arriving in College Park, he's started 17 consecutive games for Maryland. He lined up most of them at a left tackle for the 2020 season, but at 2021 he was replaced by Mason Lunsford. On that side, he played all the right
left
tackle.
guard.
I'm sorry, left guard.
Yeah.
And now he moved over to the right guard position with Mason Lunsford taking over at left guard. So it's good to get him back. This is kind of the only announcement we needed on the line. Now we're just hoping we don't get an announcement because Duncan would be foregoing his 4th year. This was coming back for the additional COVID year.
Right.
So this was the announcement we wanted to hear. Now it's like, mum's the word. No more announcement.
Right.
Like on the offensive side, I still got Mosley and some Bennett boys I need to hear about the defensive side. Come on back in the fold. But we don't want to hear anything from Cross. We don't want to hear anything from
I'm
Duncan.
not putting any bad juju out in the air, man. We'll wait. We'll see what happens. I got a feeling a lot of that will come to light after the bowl game, so we'll see what happens. But if you haven't had a chance for you Terp fans out there yet to listen to our latest episode of Sell and Tell, we did a really good job with Ahmed breaking down the entire 2022 signing class for the Terps. Went down each individual player, kind of gave a little bit of a take and insight to some of the guys, because this was a big get, man. This was a big class for Loxley. Obviously goes and shows how much getting to the bowl game meant to this, university and to this team. So let's go through and highlight some of the big cogs, some of the big pieces that we got in this draft.
Yeah.
Not draft, but this class.
And again, if you haven't had a chance to listen, you guys need to listen. Outside of a trip
Great listen. I listened to it the other day. Great listen. Good breakdown.
Outside of a trip to remember from when we got drunk and recorded in Minnesota after our great trip,
right?
Hands down, my favorite episode.
Absolutely,
so it really came through. I don't love fanboying on myself, but this time I was like, we need to do this again and again and again. This is the quality we need to get back to.
Right.
Anyway, we actually had a couple guys I want to give credit to that have had news since signing day here on this class. We signed 3-star linebacker Andrew Bam Booker, who had some big news this week. He's 6'3", 230 pounds, 77 overall linebacker, 29th,
player in Maryland.
Yeah, that's what it is. So he's the younger brother of Tank Booker. Cool breakdown with Ahmed about how how it happened, how he got here. He ended up being a gray shirt signee just because the family was so happy with what happened with Locks.
Right.
They wanted to make it work, get those guys on the same team. So he was honored by his local city council for being an Eagle Scout, the highest level of scouting. This was really impressive to me because I know what the time dedication in becoming an Eagle Scout is,
Right.
and the time dedication in becoming a Division I football player. And I don't know how this dude had time to deal with both these things.
Yeah.
I'm crazy impressed by this. Maybe one of the most impressive off the field things that I've seen out of Maryland. It
I was
really
going to
is
say,
straight nuts.
I think that's one of the most impressive things from this class is looking at him specifically, having that gray shirt year of when he walked onto campus and what he looked like physically to what he is now. Like, you can see the work ethic this guy's puts in. So not just on the field and in the weight room, but to your point, what he's able to do and accomplish with this, this honor for the Eagle Scout is just telling of who this guy is and what kind of character he is.
Really is. Then another one of our commitments, the only quarterback in the class, the local
big get.
3-star QB, Jaden Saray, 6 foot 205, 45 player overall QB in the country, and 19 in overall player in Maryland. He got a high def Heisman Award. It's actually an NBC sports show about recognizing the best high school football player in DC.
That's awesome.
It was kind of cool. He ended up just being edged out in the popular vote of player or just anybody can vote category. But he
Right.
won both the coaches and media votes, ended out edging out the next player to get the best player in DC award, basically.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we got to talk about some of the really big gets. And listen, no diss to any of the names that we've already mentioned.
Everybody was important in this class. There were no just filler, really.
Exactly. There was I didn't feel like any of these pieces were just scholarships to give scholarships away. I never felt like that about any of these
Hopefully
guys.
we're past that for now.
Absolutely. But when you look at some of these gets, and one of the guys that was a guy we talked about on this show that prior to us going live, we had learned we lost the commitment to this guy and that he had flipped the script and gone to South Carolina. 4-star linebacker Jayshawn Barham out of St. Francis Academy. This was big. He ends up flipping the script back and signing with the Terps. Why this is so big is because of what I said. One, he's a super talent, but to get this kid out of St. Francis, to build that pipeline, to build that trust and respect with those coaching staffs, and that coaching staff is now buying into what Loxley and crew is doing here at Maryland, that is the pipeline locally that you want attached to this university, and you want that talent to keep feeding in, and this is a really big get.
Yeah, number 108 player overall nationally, number 3 in Maryland. So you're talking rack level, cross level, top Maryland talent that you're keeping in the program. That is really important to keep this going and showing why Locke's the godfather of the DMV. Super happy to have him. He's going to be talented wherever they play him on the defense. He's got the skills to do it, and I couldn't be happier that we got him on board.
And it didn't stop there because Loxley ended up getting a second commit from the St. Francis Academy. 3-star offensive lineman Andre Roy Jr., 6'6", 320-pound tackle, number 64 overall in the country, number 16 overall prospect out of Maryland. This is big for many reasons. Again, we talk about the importance with offensive line. We do have a good unit coming back, so this gives this kid a chance to come in and learn and sit and develop behind a good starting offensive line. If he's going to play left tackle behind, Jalen Duncan, who's got NFL prowess. So I think this is big, and again, to get 2 guys from St. Francis Academy is huge.
Yeah, it's absolutely a monster. He stole from the dark side, being committed to PSU. They actually, apparently, according to Ahmed, had kind of gotten word that he was flipping, but they thought he was flipping to USC, the good one, not the shitty one that Barham came from.
Right.
So they knew that the flip was coming, apparently, but they did not know that it was going to the rival to the south here we got going on. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a big. We needed offensive line help in a big way this year, and we got a bunch of it coming in. Of course, that always takes time to develop.
Right.
These aren't guys that are going to start in the Big Ten. You don't bring in freshmen to start in the Big Ten.
Right.
So we just got to keep them happy, keep them out of the portal, develop them to build for the future.
I'm pretty sure in total number, I think we got 4, maybe 5 offensive linemen in this class. I think it was 4 was the number.
Well, you had 4 and then the center, so you had 5 offensive linemen.
5 offensive linemen. So you bring up center, and this was another guy that is a very intriguing player. We talk the importance of center is huge in itself, and we had to fill that void, obviously, with the departure of Johnny Jordan this past year, right? And we had Eric Harris come in, and he did admirable. We had Spencer Anderson, who slid over and played pretty good at center, right? But this is a guy who's been playing center his entire high school career. But what's important about this kid, 3-star Colton Deary out of Malvern Prep in Malvern, PA, this kid's a 2-sport athlete.
Yeah, he's going to be filling in a couple spots for the Terps. He's going to be playing or competing on their wrestling squad.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that the Big Ten just is head, shoulders, knees, and toes above every other division in college athletics. So
Right.
we've been way behind the line in that and volleyball and some things that are a little bit not ACC relevant. Volleyball is kind of catching up and playing well now. Wrestling would be the next thing we really got to blow. So hopefully, this guy only lost 2 matches in all of high school.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he plays well for them, keeps him in tip-top shape year-round. The athletic training is going to be unbelievable, and I think this is a guy that can really develop into a serious part of our offensive line.
The word is this kid's got a good football IQ, which is huge. You want somebody who can communicate well and that understands, different formations and different things and being able to see things in the way that somebody's hands in the dirt, little things like that you take for granted as an offensive lineman. Apparently this kid's got, but what he brings as a wrestler and how that translates to football and why I think this is important is because typically some of your best wrestlers have a good center of gravity, right? And they usually have that thicker lower half and that strong base. And that's what you want out of your center, right? The guy that's snapping the ball and who's got to go immediately into a protective stance, I think is a big for a center. And I think that'll translate well. So it's a big get for the Terps there. Next one. We talked about the loss at linebacker. You lost Brandon Jennings to the transfer portal. We did lose Asita Smith, which we didn't talk about on this show as well. So we're a little depleted at the linebacker position. We did get some big pieces. Obviously, the cream of the crop is going to be Jayshawn Barham, but it can't go without saying 3-star linebacker Caleb Wheatland out of VA, 6'1.5". Don't shortchange him on that half inch.
Everybody needs another half inch.
We all need that half inch. 220 pounds, number 95 overall linebacker in the country, number 28 overall out of Virginia. Ahmed had some really intriguing comments about this kid that both you and I liked.
Yeah, the reason we bring this guy up is that Ahmed compared this man to Chance Campbell.
Yeah.
Me and you were huge Chance Campbell fans before the breakout. That year where he was showing spurts.
At spring game.
At spring game, and the year before, last 3 games of the season, he was starting to show up. And so he had that unbelievable year and then transferred out, went to Ole Miss, and had an even more unbelievable year.
Yeah.
So we really missed Chance Campbell. This could have been a whole different squad with him out there. I really think that you would have had 2 more wins. We'd be sitting at 8-4 instead of 6-6 right now.
Right.
But it's just a really important piece and a development guy. Somebody that's got a good head on his shoulders, going to stay here, going to develop, going to do the right things to participate in this. I'm just really hopeful for this. This is just kind of a little breakdown of the players, something we could do quick here. We had an hour and 40-minute show. Ahmed's the expert. We don't know nothing. We're just fans. You
don't know nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
But if you guys are really interested in the Terp stuff, please check out the latest episode. It was really good, and we delve deep into the whole class. We went from the 53rd, I think, class in all of college football in the morning to number 26 by the evening. Huge. We need to stay top 30 classes if we're going to keep developing, and it's really, really good to see.
Yeah, and the Terps still have some room with some scholarships. I think they have 5 scholarships left, and then they've got 7 positions left with the whole transfer waivers or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
that
those
they
are
can
getting
get.
ate by some of the people. Like Johari Branch is going to take away one of those transfers, things like that.
So there's still
a lot of moving parts with the scholarships.
A lot of moving parts, a lot of players still out in the transfer portal. Hopefully some pieces that went out in the transfer portal that might come back. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Ryan and I, like we talked about, we're actually going to the Pinstripe Bowl next week. So this week we're not doing another episode of Shell and Tell, but we will probably do a recording from New York to kind of give you the Minnesota vibe that we had where we recorded right after the game. Maybe it'll be alcohol influenced. Who knows? It was in Minnesota.
But we will not be here next Tuesday because hopefully we'll be in New York City unless all hell breaks loose.
Right. But we got to talk a little bit about this Virginia Tech game, right? Because I liked our chances going into this Virginia Tech game. Just man up. The way that we looked roster to their roster, right?
It was going to be a good game, I felt.
I felt like it would be a good game, but I still liked our chances. Well, some pieces have fallen on Virginia Tech's side that looks to improve our chances.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked with, at least on Shell and Tell and possibly here, that they had already lost the number 1 wide receiver.
Yep.
They had already lost number 1 cornerback. They had lost a couple fringe linemen and things that weren't really a problem. But they just lost their quarterback. He has entered the transfer portal, and he was a dual threat guy. His legs were what scared me.
Yep.
That was the equalizer. With our linebacker issues versus a mobile quarterback, I was a little scared that if they could beat us, that's how they were going to beat us. I don't know nothing about their backup quarterback. He got like 0 run all year. Could be the next, like, who knows, Lamar Jackson. I could be screwed.
Right.
But I love the fact he's not there. Just for the blank of who knows what's fine.
And what was interesting about this whole thing was the player still wanted to play in this bowl game, but it was the university's decision to not allow that to happen.
Yeah, apparently, who knew that was a thing? So apparently when you put your name in the transfer portal, the school has the option to allow or disallow you to participate in the bowl game, and they decide that their number one single caller should not participate in the bowl game. So last year they just sat out the bowl game and didn't play. This year they're not letting their quarterback play. So apparently Virginia Tech's just done with bowl games.
Yeah, pretty interesting to say the least. All right, fellas, it's time for this week's rundown, and I'll start this week off, right? I'm not a huge golf watcher. I like to play golf. I like to think that I'm pretty bad at golf. I'll just put it out there. I'm pretty bad at golf. But I like to play golf anyway.
He's better than me.
I have fun playing golf.
But now
Not when you listen to me.
But now you can
not.
you can take a nice cold drink out with you on the links with your ice cube
I
golf
can.
ball.
Look at this. Look at this nice gift that we got from Drew. All of us here at Birdland BS. We got our golf ball
I
ice
wouldn't mean that as
molds.
a transition. I just thought it was
It's
funny
very
to talk
nice.
about golf
Very
right now.
nice. Appreciate that. Like I said, your gift is
football.
somewhere on a ship coming in. So we'll see.
His
Oh, you
golf
got a
ball game
football.
sucks that
Okay.
much.
Yeah, true.
But at this week's PNC Championship, the Pro-Am tournament, this is, I think, one of the more fun tournaments to watch, and especially I know the players have the most fun with this because this is where
yeah.
they bring in either their fathers, their daughters in some cases, their sons, like, the whole kit and caboodle. It's a family event. So John Daly in this event with his son, who's been in this event multiple times,
Yeah.
right? But obviously the name that takes the spotlight and everybody wants to talk about is Tiger Woods in this game.
Boo.
And I'm not going to talk about Tiger because it's not about Tiger. It was about his son, Charlie.
Yay.
Kid's
Charlie,
got some goddamn confidence.
the kid is unbelievable how talented he is. He's 12 years old. Just the accuracy in which he hits a ball, the similarities that him and Tiger have,
mannerisms.
the mannerisms are uncanny, man. It's unreal. And Tiger's made it point, and this is one of the things I do respect about Tiger is that, when he talks about Charlie, he'll tell you he's not his coach. He doesn't want to be his coach. He doesn't, he'll teach him if he asks him things, but he doesn't try to push him or mold him into what he wants him to be. He lets Charlie make the decisions, and Charlie wants to be this golfer, and he's done really, really well. He looks really good on the golf course.
I know we give Tiger a lot of crap in that situation as a father, right? Think about what Tiger went through. We saw the Tiger series. His dad pushed him. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to do the same things. All right, I give him a little bit of credit in that sense, but credit, I think the Dailies won that, right?
The Dailies ended up winning the tournament. Again, I think John Daly, you can't call him Little John anymore. You don't want me to call him Little John anymore. John Daly the second, which would be junior to me. John Daly the second, I think he goes to Arkansas for college, plays college golf at Arkansas. The kid has like pro aspirations, and he can hit the hell out of a golf ball, just
like his father.
Just like his father. And his father is super entertaining. He had the long white beard going. He wore like this Santa outfit in the photo of all the golfers with their kids together. He's just a goofball.
Did you
love
see the
John
video of
Daly.
him on the chipping green?
Yes.
The single-handed
Yes.
chip with a drink in the hand and puts it in the cup.
He is the definition of just somebody born with uber talent. Like that guy, no matter what he does, he can go out there and drink his face off and still hit the golf ball 400 yards and somehow shoot under par.
He can drink you under the table,
Yeah.
and then he can turn around and beat you on the golf
Have you ever
course.
heard his song?
I have not heard a song, but I heard him talk about it. So I've heard
you
he's
gotta
pretty
listen to it.
talented. I just haven't listened to it. All right, I'll have to check it out.
Scary situations in the NFL this week. The first one that I wanted to bring up was the situation in Denver. Teddy Bridgewater goes
yeah.
down. Wasn't moving at all. stretchered off the field. Monday, they released him and determined that he just had a concussion. Now, the thing with this is it wasn't
Scary
like
when they take the face mask off and they do
Yeah.
everything to isolate the movement. I know they got to take all precautions, but man,
But
it's
this one
scary.
wasn't like it was a hard hit or anything. He just
dove.
landed the wrong way on the dive and just wound up coming down on his head and the wrong way. But this.
But I was gonna say, but speaking of incidents that happened that were
Man.
way more severe than they looked.
So here's the thing. This situation, we were going back and forth, and Drew and I were going back and forth in the chat. The more scary one was the Chargers and Chiefs game, when the Chargers tight end Donald Parham Jr. goes down in the first on a target to him in the end zone with no contact other than with the ground. He instantly locked up. And when I say locked up, I mean locked up. Like it was, he was rigid. You saw, I forget who it was, come over and try to just touch his arm. And you saw like the arm kind of like bounce back. Like, you know, it was like, oh shit, this is pretty serious. When it got even more scary is when there's about an 8 to 10 minute delay because they're trying to tend to him. And then they wind up, you know, stretching. They get him on the stretcher. And as they're taking him off the field on the stretcher, dude is still rigid.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's crazy.
I mean, his arms were shaking as he was coming off the field.
Yeah, they were.
He was cold,
It was
though.
just cold in LA.
What a fucking moron.
Yeah.
God.
Joe
read the
Buck.
fucking room.
Yeah.
Golly.
Even if that was fed to him, read the room, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
You've
Look,
been in it long
and
enough.
look, they're saying somehow that this was only a concussion. Now, Drew and I were going back and forth. He was saying it looked like seizure type situation going on. I was saying they're like head injury, but more to it, spinal injury with the fact that he almost couldn't move. His legs weren't moving either, right? Everybody's focused on saying his legs were not moving at all. So crazy situation. With all these concussions, it got me thinking, just something to bring up really quickly. Is it time that the NFL revisits? We've seen them revisit the helmet before, but we've seen a lot of guys go under concussion protocol and actually be diagnosed with concussions. And with the fact that, you know, you're seeing guys that are 33, 40 years old passing away, potentially, you know, Demaryius Thomas with the hits that he took could CTE. We'll see what happens with his autopsy. Does CTE play a role there? Is it time to revisit the helmets again?
Ryan, I'm not going to try to get too medical here, but you can back me up on this if I'm right or wrong. But listen, I don't think that any further advancements in helmet technology is going to help concussions cut down more than they already are, because this is a high impact, high speed football, you know, sport, right? And when we're talking about this play in general, right, what happens, at least in my mind, of how this works, again, I have no medical, you know.
We were all
statutes
surprised
on
he got like that.
But what happens is, you know, you got a guy falling to the ground where his head is stopped by the ground, but his brain keeps going, and his brain is basically rattling off the back of his skull, which is ultimately what led to the concussion.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to advance helmet technology that's going to prevent that, at least in my eyes. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, you're right that it's not going to prevent it, but they've already shown lots of times in the helmet studies that different helmets had different
Effects.
concussion levels.
Okay.
You're never going to eliminate concussions from football.
Right.
It just can't happen because, like you said, the helmet's not holding your brain still.
Right.
The problem is not your head hitting something. The problem is your brain hitting your head.
Just drill a hole in
So-
their head and throw some foam in there.
Right.
So you're not going to prevent concussions forever, but I can't say – I do think the helmets are unbelievably better than where they were even
100%.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
So would it shock me that we're just going to snap our fingers and have a completely better helmet that's going to prevent it? Yeah, but eventually it'll happen. I mean – Rydell's got just as much money as any other company out here in the
Right.
world, and they're pumping it. Maryland got like a $20 million grant from the U.S. government to study concussion research, and part of that's like helmet redesign. That was all part of the money that went into the Cole Fieldhouse
Right.
renovation was government research on CTE and concussions.
Interesting.
So they're definitely working on it. Do I think it's going to be a huge change, more than a 1 or 2% change in concussions? No, but 1 to 2% can help a lot of people.
Speaking of knock it out and concussions.
I was going to say, well, one sport that really doesn't worry much about concussions, boxing. I don't know if you guys saw the matchup between Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. I mean, it was as clean a knockout as a clean a knockout could be. And I'll be honest with you, when I watched this fight, I took it as just that. It was a clean knockout. But, and then Ryan and I looked at this, in slow motion on a couple replays that him and I saw a few other angles after I saw that with him that, to me, you do see Woodley's arm drop that puts the rumors out there that this was all rigged and set up. Now listen, he still took the fucking punch.
Oh, he did. 100%.
Either way, and he was
still out.
He was still knocked out.
Whether
I'm not
he
saying
allowed him to put him out.
Right. I'm not saying he faked that he was knocked out. He was clearly knocked out by the way he was laying on the ground. But was it rigged to be able to?
It's a UFC fighter that you watch him. He goes back. Jake Paul he rears back.
Yeah.
You go back and you don't, as a boxer, and I'm not a professional boxer. I've done a little bit of boxing in college, but nothing like heavy. It's one of those things. One of the first things they teach you, if somebody's going back and you think they're going to hit you low,
right,
you arms up, gloves at the cheeks, at the eyes to get the temples protected, and you drop your body to absorb the hit and let them, if you're lucky, take the hit on your elbow or something.
Right.
He straight drops the glove below hip level. You don't do that.
But it was even beyond that. There were some people on TikTok who were breaking down like hand signals and stuff that he was giving to Jake, like twisting the wrist, like, all right, hit me now type of thing, drops the arm, boom, takes the hit and falls down. So there's some conspiracy theories out there on the whole thing. But either way, Jake knocked the motherfucker out, and it sparked all kinds of shit, especially with Le'Veon Bell on social media calling out Jake Paul, and they were, trying to potentially set up a fight there, but sounds like that might be put on the back burner for a little while because he was just signed by the Bucks after the injury to Leonard Fournette. So we'll see.
Here's the deal. I think a lot of
February 13th.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't going to take Jake Paul seriously until he fights a real boxer, somebody in the boxing world. So it'll be interesting.
No one will ever
but
take Jake Paul seriously. This will always be a thing, no matter what happens. Unless Jake Paul's the one getting knocked out, no one's going to take it seriously because anybody can be bought. And in a two-person sport, all you got to do is talk to the other person and give them money. And Jake Paul's got more money than he should have because YouTube pays morons way too much fucking money.
Well, there's a lot of truth in that.
Maybe he can take a handicap boxing match against those Island boys.
Oh God! Somebody needs to knock one of them motherfuckers out for sure. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, they were on his show too.
I know. I
Crazy.
thought it was going to happen there.
You see it while they're at the fight. People were throwing drinks at them.
Oh yeah, when they were walking in,
People were just throwing drinks at him.
Really?
It was crazy.
Why would you go there when you just embarrass the hell out of Jake Paul? Half the people in this fucking arena.
No, they embarrassed the hell out of themselves, not Jake Paul.
But they tried to make a big tough guy act, whatever this thing's going on. You go into a place where at least half to three-quarters of people are just Jake Paul fanboys in this entire arena. Because why would you go to that fight if you're not a Jake Paul fanboy?
Yeah.
And then you show up. How do you think it's not going to go poorly? How do you think that these drunk idiots that are fans of this guy that just gets drunk and spends money and acts like an asshole on the internet all day, they're fans of that, so they're drunk assholes that they play on the internet all day. They're going to throw shit at you. They're going to say the nastiest things in the world. So why are you fucking surprised and acting a fool standing on a chair? Take your 5 minutes of fame and get out of here.
To answer Joe, when did I do boxing in college? Because York does have a box team. No, I didn't box for the college. I boxed during college with a friend of mine who's a semi-pro.
Don't you know
Brady
Joe
Crow.
Scott was a catcher?
I know,
He took up
right?
boxing when that catching career was over.
Exactly. So the last thing I wanted to bring up is, has the local tie that I think we predicted, and I wanted to get everybody's take really quick because I don't know that anybody in this room was surprised, but I want to think, see where they think it's going to land. MLB announced officially, and the Mets announced officially, Buck Showalter is the next manager of the New York Mets. Today, him and his wife actually did a video conference where he held up the Showalter jersey and everything. Given his history, there's a lot of people out there predicting this team to be in some form of contention within 2 years, especially given the talent that they have on the team right now. And this is before, obviously, the labor talks and everything. Hopefully, all that works out so he can work it. But obviously, he has a history. Do you think that he can take this team and the Mets as an organization to the playoffs and be a competitive team like he did with the past several teams he's been with?
I think that if anybody could do it, it would be Buck Showalter because he's proven it time and time and time and time again. He's been manager of the year for what, 3 or 4 different franchises at this point?
Yankees, Diamondbacks, Rangers, and Orioles.
Right.
I think he's been 4.
Manager of the year 4 times, and it's been rinse, repeat every time. And it's been the same type of situation in these organizations every time. It's like the perfect scenario for Buck Showalter.
Some talent just need to get over the edge.
Yeah, but your expectations as a Met fan is, okay, this is going to be a 3-year thing, 3 to 5 year thing for Buck Showalter, and then he's going to move on. And I think that's what the ownership group is looking for. Somebody who can come in, make an immediate impact, turn things around, get the ship going in the right direction to then have the long-term plan come in. And hey, listen, Buck Showalter, I have nothing but the utmost respect for him. And I wish him nothing but the best up there. I think he can. And again, I understand they're in the division with, the Braves who are doing really good as well. The Nationals are come and go. You got the NL MVP in Philadelphia in Bryce Harper, right? So it's a pretty good division. And he's got some talent on that roster, especially on the pitching staff. So again, if there's anybody that I think can pull it all together, Buck Showalter's it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna make them in contention. I don't know if he's turning them into a World Series contender, but I think that's
playoff contention, playoff team in 2 years.
I think Cohen wants the Mets to be relevant again, and I think Buck is the guy of all the opportunities. Buck's the guy that takes them there. Go ahead, Couch. Go ahead.
We're just laughing at the semi-pro catcher and boxer. And Joe and Carlozo is so excited that it's been up this long that he's rooting for us to just leave it on there the rest of the show.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't say this with all due respect. Go fuck yourself.
Hey, real quick, another rundown. I just want to throw in there. I don't know if you guys heard. Apparently, there's talks, and it's getting louder down in D.C. that they're trying to move the Washington football team to Virginia and build a dome. That was breaking news today.
Boo! Come back to Maryland. We need more tax money.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, but it would be interesting to have the dome. Lord knows that shithole at FedEx Field needs to be replaced.
No rules. No boundaries. 2 topics. 30 seconds each. It's time for the 2-minute warning.
What the fuck? You left me fucking hanging.
You got to recognize we're on manual mode, so I got to do the manual side of things.
I guess I'm the one with a skull cap on, so it makes sense for me to fucking throw up gang signs.
Yeah, let's have Blitzen throwing up gang signs. That'd be real great.
Well, Blitzen's got a beer in his hand, or I don't know what that is.
It's a scooch.
That Blitzen, man, though, he used to be a semi-pro boxer.
Nobody even paid attention to what I said. They just heard the word semi-pro. I said the girl that I boxed with was a semi-pro boxer. I trained with her.
You're fighting a girl?
Oh, man.
I'm not muted.
Okay.
You're just dead.
All right, it's time for the 2-minute warning. Drew, you're going to read these off. Hey, if you're still stuck with us, stay with us to the after hours. We're going to put a little holiday fun into it. It's kind of like what we did for the Halloween special.
Yeah, if the bearded outfits and snow wasn't enough for you, we got more.
We got more. We'll have fun with it. Drew, kick us off with the 2-minute warning.
Who's one player in fantasy football this year that you were absolutely dead wrong on during the summer?
100% for me, it was Christian McCaffrey because I wound up trading for him. I know that you got rid of him. I picked him up somehow, and he's been sitting on my IR ever since. He came out for I think 1 game and then went right back on. It just hasn't worked out for Christian McCaffrey for this year. It sucked.
All right, for me, got to be Lamar Jackson. I say that because not on draft day, but I made a big midseason trade to get Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews in a dynasty league, but I had to give up Jonathan Taylor to do it. And ever since that trade, Lamar Jackson has tumbled and Jonathan Taylor has skyrocketed. Now, granted, I still got Mark Andrews out of the deal, so I don't feel too terrible about it, who's done really good things. But yeah, Lamar Jackson so far has been a little bit of a disappointment for me.
With COVID-19 popping up in sports and the NHL now deciding to pause the season a little sooner than you do their Christmas break, do Do you see any other sports following suit? Which ones?
This one's a tough one because I think we're seeing it around the country. We're seeing it ramp up. I think one of the things that I'm looking at is definitely these bowl games. You know, I hate to say it with you guys, but New York just instituted another mask mandate. They're getting stricter.
Don't do it, Scott.
If there's anywhere that's going to do it first, it's going to be New York. The bowl games could be the next thing to go. I hate to say it.
Interesting. I mean, for me, I don't think the NBA is going anywhere because the NBA had it right. Like, they'll just go back to the whole.
Silver said no, it's not happening.
Yeah, they'll just go back to the whole dome thing, you know, or the quarantine, you know,
vaccination
no fan thing. I think if anybody is going to see a stoppage, it probably will be collegiate sports. It'll be collegiate basketball. We might see another holdup of the NCAA, tournament type thing. Hopefully we get through these bowl games and we don't have any impact. So for me, it is NCAA, but I think it's NCAA basketball.
All right, good timing on that.
That was, man. Timed it down to last second.
New Year's 6 bowls have to play, or college sports are fucked. So.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, they're full steam ahead.
All right, man. Well, listen, we appreciate you guys tuning in every week, but we most importantly continue to appreciate your support year in, year out. It's another year in the books for us, as we will not be on the show next week. Well, we might see an abbreviated version if Scott and James and
We'll probably do a short.
You guys go away doesn't mean the
Okay, hey, show's on next week. Ryan and I will be up in New York. Maybe I'll make a phone call in. You know, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, but yeah, we will do some form of show
thank
next
you
week.
again.
We appreciate everybody. Since they won't be here next week, we're going to save our New Year's show for the actual New Year itself when you guys are back.
Joe, you're such a dick.
So yeah, I'm ignoring all of this stuff at this point, but we appreciate you guys tuning in again. Another great year at Birdland BS. We appreciate you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing this as much as we do. This is a hobby for us. We have fun. We have fun interacting with you guys. We have fun with all of you guys. Merry Christmas to all of you guys in the studio.
Yeah,
Fred,
man,
Merry
same to you.
Christmas.
All
Ryan,
of your
James,
families,
Drew.
everybody. Kids.
Absolutely. We appreciate all you guys. As you see, Ryan put up the donations up there, bio.link/BirdlandBS. You'll find all of our social media pages. You can donate as you've asked about. You can find our website, www.birdlandbs.com, while you're there. You can also, while you're on the social media pages, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and share while you're there. And the audio version of the show, we're on all the podcast platforms. Make sure you go there. Make sure you drop us a review. It helps us get found. Give us that 5-star review, and we really appreciate that, guys. And again, we appreciate everything that you do for us. This is so much fun that we get to come here every week and do this. So we'll see you guys next week. Fred, Ryan, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
That's right. Happy New Year for all you guys out there. We won't be able to see you, so Happy New Year as well.
For everybody in the studio, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week, and Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
It's time for the after party.
It's last call for alcohol. Now you guys can hear me. Hit the monitor button at some point.
Yeah, the studio guys weren't here, so Joe really threw us for a loop saying that he can't hear us. Jesus.
Oh, man.
All right, man. So this is it's a special edition. It's the Christmas special for us, right? And during Halloween, we kind of had a fun spin on things. We talked a little bit about our top 5 scary movies for us, right? So we're gonna put a holiday twist on this because there's so many Christmas movies out there, or movies that people consider.
I love how you did air quotes, because there's only one movie that you could do air quotes for.
That's what I'm saying. There's movies out there that some people consider Christmas movies that aren't really a Christmas movie, but whatever. We'll have that debate. For you, maybe your family out there, I want everybody in the chat room, give me your top 3 Christmas movies, man. That's a family tradition. Every year you make sure you watch these 3 movies. Ryan, I'll let you kick this one off, man. If you had to give me your top 3 movies that you watch on every Christmas. I know your Christmas varies on what day you celebrate, but during the Christmas holiday, what are your 3 movies?
I imagine I'm the Scroogiest of all of us in here.
Surprise, surprise.
Not the biggest Christmas guy, so all of my Christmas
Wait,
movies.
says the guy in a fucking Santa suit.
I got 4-year-olds now. I got to play it up, so I bought this for them, and then you guys said we were dressing up, so here we go.
All right.
So it's $20 impulse waltz by. So anyway, all my movies would stand up if you took the Christmas out of it. Like, just you would obviously have to have a different theme, but
Right.
I like the most Christmas one. I'll go with that first. The Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell as Santa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
Both of 'em?
kind of a banger. Like,
You would think it's going to be horrible.
it
Oh,
looks
Kurt
like it's
Russell.
supposed
Right.
to be terrible. Yeah.
I love
Amazing
Tango and
movie.
Cash, so I love Kurt Russell.
Let's just
Amazing
let him
movie.
go through it, and then we'll go around. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but seriously, like I put it on because my girls were like, "Let's watch a Christmas movie," and then I'm like, "All right, this is kind of
Yeah, the
good. I'm
kids
gonna
loved
watch
it.
the rest of this."
Right.
So anyway, that's my number one there. Bad Santa, you know.
Okay.
it just-
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would,
That checks out for you.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
it does.
since I'm going first, I'll stay away from the classic one because I can just pick all my funny ones, and I'll take Elf.
Yeah?
You know, any Will Ferrell movie pretty much stands up on its own.
You want to
All
go to
right.
the couch?
Let's go couch. James, what are yours? What are your three?
Home Alone 1.
That was
and
the one I
2.
dodged.
Nah, so you got Home Alone 1 and then Home Alone 2 as your second one. You can't group them together. It's either Home Alone 1 or Home Alone
They
2.
can go both. Either way, I've watched them probably like
Okay.
40 times each already. 40 times each.
Already this year?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I Jesus
Christ.
That's dedication.
I love it, dude.
Borderline
All right.
psychotic. But you know, whatever.
number,
He's gonna leave his child at home.
number 2, Christmas Vacation.
Okay, great. Great
And
one.
number 3 is Scrooge with Bill Murray.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. There are a lot of good Christmas movies. It's hard to pick three.
That's what I'm saying. When you guys made it 3
Yeah.
and 3, when we switched
I just
it-
figured
No,
if
it
we went
made
5,
sense.
we'd all have the
It
similar
made sense, But
5.
when you switched, I was like, well, everyone's got a bunch.
We can
of
all go
same.
honorable mention
I'm like,
after
man,
it.
I
It'll
can
be
go
fine.
10.
Yeah.
I can rattle off 10. So my number 3 is Jim Carrey's version of The Grinch.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
great.
Fucking love it.
I love it too.
I could watch it. I have to watch it every year. Elf
Yes.
is just an instant classic. It's so funny.
Yep.
And I'm a diehard Christmas Story fan.
Oh, I
can
thought you were going somewhere
understand- I can understand
Die Hard.
Well, that would have been no, but I am a legit. I love that movie. I would watch that movie. My grandmother had it on VHS back in the day. I would watch it year round.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I could probably act it out. I love the movie so much. I get how people might not like it anymore because it's kind of oversaturated with the marathon that starts on Christmas Eve night. But
Yeah.
that's still for me, like that's the tier 1
Yeah,
right
I like
there.
Right.
All right.
I got you.
All right, go ahead.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
What
much
is
for
happening?
manual mode.
It's because of the
Die Hard
camera
counts,
switches
Team
with
Mister.
this.
Die Hard counts.
I'll turn that
Jesus.
off too. Don't worry. Go ahead.
All right. So for me, it's hard to put these in order because, again, you could go 5 really easily and swap them one way or the other. So for me, number 1, I'm going to go Christmas Vacation. I absolutely love that movie. I've watched it forever, and I'll watch it again this year. Every year I watch it. I'll show my age here, too. This is more of a tradition type thing. My parents started me on it. It's a Wonderful Life. I love the movie, and the reason
Classic.
I love it is because when I was a kid and I would watch, I had to watch it every year. So again, my parents controlled the TV and all that stuff. So I watched it every single year. I didn't understand it. Like every year I watched it, I understood a little bit more and a little bit more. So even though I was watching the same thing, I understood like little subtleties in the movie, like big picture messages and stuff that you don't really understand. It wasn't just a poorly put out Christmas movie. It's a really good
I've never seen
story. It's such a good movie, man. It's old. I get it. I'm the old man and all that stuff. It's a really good movie. That's number 2 for me. And then number 3 has got to be Elf. I mean, it's Will Ferrell. I love Will Ferrell as an actor. He is absolutely hilarious. That movie, till this day, even though I know what's coming and I could repeat it verbatim, I will still laugh hysterically because it's absolutely hilarious. So that's my top 3 if you have to hold me down and pick 3.
For me, so I would definitely say of the recent movies, my number 3 would be Christmas Chronicles. I think it was really well done. First one and the second one, I do think the first one is better, but it was really well done, and Kurt Russell did a great job. Number 2, Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Classic, shitter's full.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Number 1 is probably going to be surprising, but I actually saw it in the chat. It's something I do watch every year.
Tim Allen Christmas thing.
Santa Claus is definitely in my top 10. I could name 10 movies right now.
Oh,
no
same,
problem.
same.
Yeah.
But my number 1, because I grew up with it and he was one of my favorite producers of all time. Jim Henson's The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, hey.
I love
Thumbs
that.
up, man.
Okay.
So
Thumbs
me and
up with
Fred
that
are on the
shit.
same. I'd already looked up to make sure I had the name right.
The Santa Claus.
Because I would like to edit my 3. I'll kick Bad Santa out and throw The Santa Claus in since nobody else brought it up. I do think that was a really good,
It was good.
traditional Christmas movie.
Yes.
Put it this way,
more
traditional
than Bad
Christmas,
Santa would be.
it's like you said. You take the Christmas theme away, it's
Yeah.
still just a fucking drunk asshole.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just worthless piece
Yeah.
of shit.
All right.
And that's what the diehard argument for me that we can all get into now. I think Home Alone's in the same realm. I think the Bad Santa's in the same realm. They're movies about something that's happening near Christmas.
It
so
is
that's
Christmas.
why I don't
Home
know.
Alone is Christmas.
It is sure it's
Well, he
Christmas.
said
It's about the
but
value of
about-
family around
it's about
Christmas.
robbers
If they went on
coming
a
into a
summer
house. It's not
vacation-
like it would still be funny as shit if they did it on 4th of July.
Yeah.
And they had Marv coming up and he shot fireworks up his ass. Like it's not Christmas. It really isn't. Like it just happens during Christmas, so it's a Christmas movie.
All right, so-
and they added to it.
so you
just
said
like
it.
Die Hard.
So Die Hard, yay or nay? No explanation. Yay or nay is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Ryan says no.
No, I say yes because if not, you're kicking out about 20 others. I think Die Hard gets so focused on because it has guns.
Because it's an action movie.
But really, if you think about it, again, Bad Santa's not really a Christmas movie. Home Alone's not a Christmas
Reindeer
movie.
Games.
There's lots of things that are just they add Christmas in because it gives them 10 more million in the box office.
Why
They
was
could very easily be
Home Alone?
something else.
Home Alone has Santa in it, dude.
So does Bad Santa.
Yeah.
So does Die Hard. There's
Home-
Santa-
so
Home
here's
Alone,
the-
ringing a
Home
bell.
Alone, there's Christmas undertone to. Like,
Yeah.
It's the
Die
value
Hard,
of
there's
family.
not.
He
Die
also-
Hard, it just so happens to be snow in the background. Like, that's it.
Not even there in hell. All right.
I will say it is the farthest down, but all of them have arguments like unless you're following the story of Christmas or following a Santa Claus or a elf.
Christmas.
Scott's got a point. Let him get it out.
So my whole point with saying it is I think with what James is saying about like Home Alone. Home Alone is about the value of family around the holidays and the recognition of your family is such a value and you take it for granted. You take it for granted around the holidays unless you're around them.
No,
and when
the
they're
last
not,
scenes about that. The first 30
but
aren't.
it builds. You have to understand that it builds to that.
family is
And to
a
James's
piece
point,
of
he
shit.
goes, he seeks the friendship of somebody that he thought was a complete dick, a complete asshole that lives next door to him. That is actually one of the nicest people that he's
even
met.
went to church, midnight mass, dude. Let me just tell you this: Elf could be considered not a Christmas
Yeah,
movie either.
I agree.
anything.
I agree.
He comes from the North Pole. What are we talking about here?
That story's about finding your father, not about Christmas.
Jesus Christ.
It's just because it
He
came
is an
down.
Read your
elf
shirt,
from the
motherfucker.
North Pole.
Yeah, but it
What
doesn't
are we
take place
talking
during
about?
Christmas, though.
Oh my God!
Anyway, that's
Die
why they-
Hard is literally the only movie that deserves
Hold
the
on.
argument as to why it
Hold
shouldn't
on.
be a Christmas movie.
Elf-
None of the other movies you brought
Elf
up
is technically
deserve it.
going to New York and seeing fucking New York.
All right. So let's go to the other one. that
Pretty
was-
Woman. Was there a snow scene in that? We'll just make that one a fucking Christmas movie too.
Well, I mean, people say Love Actually all the time. Same deal.
Jesus.
All right. So the other thing that was brought up in our group chat when we went from 5 to 3. So Drew originally was wanting 5, then we went to 3 and 3.
Next part.
So the 3. Give us your top 3 songs for
Christmas songs.
So
Yeah.
I'll go first on this because
All right.
I had mine. I know
don't,
what mine
so I gotta
are.
come up with this.
So I know what mine are. My number 1 is a classic.
Mo Bamba.
Holly Jolly Christmas, the Burl Ives version. The original Burl Ives version.
I
Okay.
always thought that was Bing Crosby, so I just learned something.
Nope, it wasn't Bing Crosby. A lot of people think he did it, but Burl Ives was the one that originally did it.
Was Burl Ives was a former boxer, right?
Anyway, Run Rudolph Run by Chuck Berry.
It's a good one.
And my number 3, Little Saint Nick by the Beach Boys. I think it's an underrated version of the
It's all right.
song.
Run, baby, run, Rudolph, run's better, but it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Who's next?
I'll take it
Go
because
ahead.
we're already on me, right? So, I guess my number 1. This comes back from being a kid. Alvin and the Chipmunks version of what was it? I forget the name of the song.
Sing it for us, please.
They've done a few different ones.
You won't be singing that one. I'll sing a lot of other things. You won't be singing that one. Bing Crosby, the White Christmas is also a very good one. I guess I got to go Mariah Carey, Ryan. All I Want for Christmas Is You. There's personal ties to that one, obviously, but it's a classic. It's on all the time, so I'm going to go with it as my third song.
Christmas Don't Be Late by the Chipmunks, by the way.
That's it. Christmas Don't Be Late. I couldn't think of the
that's
name
a
of
good
it.
one, yeah.
That's a good one.
right.
Couch. James, what do you got?
Mine will be is up there as Mariah Carey, even though her voice is annoying, but that's a good song.
Yeah.
Run DMC.
Run DMC. Okay, I like it. Yeah.
I love that song.
Wait, we could just say DMX and his Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer rendition too, because that was fucking awesome.
And then what the other one? Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
Okay, that's a classic.
Drew, go ahead.
The number 3 is Last Christmas. I've heard different versions. I like them all. I gave you my heart. Yes, you can sing. Keep
Yeah,
going.
no.
No.
Sure.
That's the end of it.
You're jamming.
We're good.
You going. I was going to feed you.
Gave it away.
Number 2 be Run, Rudolph, Run. Fucking Chuck Berry's like the godfather of rock. He really
I want to
is.
see. I want to
really
see
is.
a remake of Back to the Future with that in there.
Yeah. And then my number 1 is Jingle Bell Rock.
Okay.
That's a good one. I had
Yeah.
forgotten about that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
All right, Ryan.
Top 3.
Truly, my top 20 are all just like random ass like YouTube / like covers of like weird take a normal song and make it a Christmas song. I love all those, but I tried to keep it a little bit more mainstream for this. Number 3, not a Christmas song, going with it anyway. The Hanukkah song by Adam Sandler.
That's a good one. I
Classic.
forgot about that. That is a good one.
And then number 2, another weird ass one, but just makes me giggle the whole time, so I enjoy it. Gayla Peavy, didn't know who sang it until I looked it up. I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas.
Oh,
That's
yes.
a weird ass song, and I
That's
love it.
That's up there like Dominic the Donkeys.
That's a weird song. And the number 1, the one that'll stay in my hearts forever. Beautiful ass Mariah Carey, and all I can picture is Fred's fucking face every time she sings it. Because as some of you may know, the very first day me and Fred hung out was the Ohio State Maryland football game, and for some unknown goddamn reason, they went from the students were all partying in a field, they had a DJ playing, and they went from All I Want for Christmas Is You, Mariah Carey, to Mo Bamba, and that switch was burned into my fucking skull.
Forever.
And I will never forget that moment. And to watch all these little white girls just like, oh, Merry Christmas for you. Fuck, bitch, unreal.
It was crazy.
I will be 99 years old. That song will play, and I'll just be like, that was a great day, Fred.
There is video evidence that this exists and that this happened.
Ashes are sitting next to you. Like, I'll just keep reminiscing.
Wait, why am I dying first?
He was 99. You're older than him.
What a dick.
Man.
Oh man. Joe Carloso says Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Oh, that's a good one.
classic one.
That's a good one. What other ones we got out there?
David Missler says favorite is Christmas Story, Capital Lights.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Home Free, Amazing Grace, and the Straight No Chaser 12 Days of Christmas. Straight No Chaser, actually, I don't know if you guys saw it. I heard it this
Why
morning.
can't I come up with that song?
Huh?
Why can't I come up with that one?
The 12 Days of Christmas is their 12 Days of Christmas is the a cappella group, No Chase, Straight No Chaser.
So there's about 1,000 of those.
Yeah,
that I would
they actually
put above
just-
all my songs.
They actually
Okay.
just did one this year that is it's their version, the Christmas version of the song Fancy Like Applebee's, that whole
Yeah,
song.
oh, God.
They did their
Nothing
Christmas.
fancy about an Applebee's.
They did their
I'd
Christmas
like that
version of
more
that
than all my
song.
songs. I
It's
haven't
pretty
heard it yet,
hilarious.
I bet I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty, I have it pulled up so I can show it to you guys later. But
All right, so
Yeah.
the other thing I wanted to ask you guys out there, so it's the holiday season. There's things that you're supposed to be excited about, right? But we all have those things that like we fucking can't stand about certain holidays or whatever. So I want you to give me your favorite thing about Christmas, and your least favorite thing about Christmas. I will give you my 2 just so that way if you guys don't have it yet, you have time to come up with it. So I am 100% my favorite thing. I'm 100% a giver, right? So I love giving gifts. Like that's just my thing. Like like the thought process that goes behind it. It's not just I am so against the whole fucking gift card thing. Like I hate giving a gift card unless somebody specifically says they want a gift card somewhere. It's just it's an exchange of money. There's no thought in it.
sound
right?
like my mother.
I hate it. I do. I hate that.
I hate it too. It's like,
but the thought process that like, hey, this gift made me think about you, or you like went above and beyond for something, whatever. It's not even the monetary tone to it. It's just I love giving gifts. But my least favorite part of Christmas is wrapping said gifts. I cannot fucking stand wrapping said gifts. I like wrapping gifts just as much as I like fucking doing laundry. I cannot stand it. I'm terrible at it, and it takes me way too long to do. So I cannot stand wrapping gifts. That's my least favorite part.
I'll say my favorite part, I would say, is kind of along the giving side of things, like seeing someone. Mine's more so seeing somebody's reaction to that thoughtful gift, right? That
absolutely.
Something that somebody wasn't expecting, whether it's a family member or a friend. It's one of those things you can look forward to that, right? I think my least favorite part, dealing with all the crap and finding places to put it afterwards.
Well, when you have a kid, I can understand
when you have to empty out, like you're like, where the hell are we gonna put all of
Good
this?
answer. Good answer. Good answer.
You've got to be like,
God damn it. We got to put it on your deck. We know that for sure.
oh. But apparently David Missler wants to fill my porch with alcohol, so please do. I'll take it.
I like it.
right.
Ryan, what's your favorite and least favorite thing of Christmas?
Yeah, David Missler says family is both the best and worst thing.
That is true.
funny
That is
one.
true.
Well,
That's a good one.
I thought for
David Missler. That's what he wants to do. He gave him the bell.
I
Gotcha.
thought for sure that Scott was going to steal mine. It's the kids. That's all. As the Grinch.
I love seeing the look on my son's face.
Exactly.
in
I
the
thought he
morning.
was going to make it so much better than mine that he would be like, it's all about my son. No, but it's just about.
Did you guys see the look on my son's face when I got the new Christmas tree and he was able to do it on his phone? Yeah.
$500 Christmas tree.
So anyway,
600.
Oh, man.
as the Grinch, I think Christmas is absolutely wonderful for anyone under 13. I think it should stop for everybody else. I'm not Fred. I don't know why any adults give each other gifts. I have money, you have money. Let's keep it. Let's buy what we want. Let's move on with our days. And that's how I feel about it. I love it for the kids. I loved coming here today in this fucking outfit and walking into a Wawa and seeing kids like, oh my God, it's Santa. He's dressed up like Santa, Mom.
His belly's real.
Yeah, it's sad. No one needs stuffing. So that's the number one. The worst part, Christmas cards. Are you out of your mind? What do we need Christmas cards for? Nobody needs to see a picture of your family. Everybody's got Facebook and Instagram and all that. We've seen your family every day this year. I don't need to see any more pictures of your family. You don't need to see any of my pictures of family. When you send my Christmas cards like, hey, can you throw this away for me? Like, does anyone have my Christmas card from last year? Please, if you're out there and you have a picture of my family from last year, let me know.
He'll give you $100.
don't. So you threw it away for me. Like, yeah, we all hang it up for like a week and like look at your It's cool. We already saw it on Facebook. Just post it. Move it on. Congratulations to Nickerson's done that this year. They moved on with their Christmas cards.
Thank you. Drew looks really offended over
Thank
there.
you for not sending me your Christmas card.
I am. Every fucking. Can I go before you?
Do it. Do
I'm
it.
trying to find new ones, and someone steals the shit. I am so glad we are lazy fucking people in the Nickerson household that we have stopped doing that because we were doing it up until like even now. We got one last year. People definitely got it after Christmas because that's how lazy we were about it. Because I think it's the dumbest thing. And you're right. It sits on the goddamn door, and you throw it in the trash. It's a waste. So since
Shutterfly fucking loves them.
these companies are making money off it one way or the other. But the cleanup afterwards,
Yes.
fucking hell.
Yeah.
It is
Absolutely,
like the cleanup in general. I hate, but like cleanup, like even when you're doing the wrapping gifts, then I got all the straight paper
Yes.
that I have cut that I didn't get to use. So that's the absolute worst. And I will kind of be a two-part. Like I miss like family being closer when I was younger, and we used to have a big family thing at my aunt's house. So I kind of miss that.
Yeah.
That was I wish things happen. It is what it is. But I miss those times. But Ryan's right. Like I'm so excited for this year because like last year was like really the kids loved it. And we're so excited. Oh, where's the next one? They were opening each other's gifts and shit. Like, I know this year's going to be, like, even better. So, like, it might be a cop-out, but just I'm so excited for that look on their faces when they're opening stuff.
Nah, it's not a cop-out at
Can't
all,
wait
man.
for it.
It's all in what brings you happiness.
All right, James.
James, what do you got, man?
My number one is just the family dinner. Like, because I go all out with the spread. I do the appetizers. I do the cocktail when you get there. I do the middle entree, and then you get to your entree. Then I do the full dessert, after dinner drinks, the espresso, the coffee. It's like
Going to James'
Did
house
you
for
not pay
Christmas.
attention for him at Thanksgiving? I want to go to his Christmas.
It's a holiday spread.
I got all these promises of leftovers. I never got any.
There weren't any. He ate them all.
And they got packed up to other people that fucking took it that were there. But I just enjoy just hanging out and be able to spend time with people that you may not get back later, like your uncle or your grandmother and stuff like that. Like you can't, as a kid, you're growing up, you're like, oh, I can't wait to open up my first gift and all that. And then the second, it's like in between. I hate when you get a gift and someone doesn't appreciate it. Like it's the effort that, like, as a teenager you get something like, why would I get this? Like this is a joke. But when you get older, you're like, for someone to at least take the time and give you a gift, that means a lot. Even if you don't need it, don't want it, for that person to actually think about you, that's a hell of a thing. I hate the person that gives a
doesn't
gag
appreciate
gift
it
or rewraps a gift that they're going to a party. Like, you know, don't be that guy. Like, if you don't want to participate in like Secret Santa and all that, then don't. Like, just stay out of it. Then to re-gift a gift that you got like a year ago and give it to someone else. So.
Right. No, that's a good take.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you because there's like I even say with my own wife, like I'm like in my head for a split second, like you got that, but I'm like, no, she got you that. Like she took the time to find something. Like these people take the time to find you something.
And the reason
like
why
one way or the other, like I try to look at the bright side of things. Like I'm gonna find use for that, or like
absolutely.
Oh, no, that's you know what that is fucking cool.
And the reason why I say that is I got a gift. It was a bagel thing. And I opened it up, and it had the card from someone else inside of it.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Ouch.
Well,
that's bad.
Well, I will say again, I do very much appreciate your gift, and
We all do.
Since we have decided to give gifts, I am always very appreciative of whatever I get. I do wish we could erase all of it, but I appreciate when someone does give me a gift. It's very nice, and I do appreciate it.
And this is part of why I like the gift giving process so much, is because again, it's not like there are some gifts that, to Ryan's point, you can just go out there and anybody could buy it at any given time if they really wanted it, right? We all buy what we want when we need it, right? But it's the thought process of something that maybe you wouldn't have thought of to buy for yourself, or something
maybe you mentioned once in passing and somebody was like, oh,
right, or something creative, right, or something that, again, that maybe doesn't have a ton of monetary monetary value, but it's, again, to James' point, the thought process that went behind it, and just the whole gift giving thing. I
hate the supply chain this year.
I do have one.
Oh, we all do. We all do.
I do have one honorable mention that I need to put out there.
Yeah,
hanging Christmas lights.
That was a 1B for me. I agree.
The front of my house, I forgot
As
how
like a best
damn
thing?
tall it is.
No.
I legit thought I was going to die hanging Christmas lights this year. I walked up, so I did most of my house, and then there's like a peak, like the triangle part, and I'm like putting the ladder up here, and I got all the way to the top, and it's like wiggling, and I'm like, oh shit. I went down like 10 feet. I was just standing there like contemplating life, like, is this worth it? Like, this would look a lot better if it went up, but maybe I should take this thing straight across. Like, I don't want to die today. I literally was standing there for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, and I looked over and saw my neighbor walk out, and I was like, I bet I look like a complete psych patient standing halfway up this ladder, doing nothing right now. Kind of bust me out, and I kind of came down the ladder, come with a new plan, and did get it done. But my God, I've already decided I got it set up in a way that I could probably just yank that cord and let it all fall. Whatever breaks may break. I'm not going back up on that ladder.
How you getting it up next year?
I'm paying somebody, baby. Checkbook coming out. I watch all people in my neighborhood with better lights than me pay people. I know it's going to be expensive, but my God, I don't want to die.
All right, Drew, what do you got?
Yes, fucking ditto on that shit. Our first Christmas in our house was kind of like real quick, so we didn't do any lights. The next Christmas, she wanted me to do lights. I'm like, okay, I didn't grow up with fucking lights. I grew up in the city.
Yeah.
And then I grew up in
Put
apartments.
like a candle in a window.
So like, I don't like. I like the thought of it. So I was like, okay, you know what? I've never done this before, but like, let's do it. I had a shitty ladder, and I couldn't even do what you did. I had to like literally get on this roof. I found out that I don't like heights.
Yeah. The older you get, the worse
my
that
wife
gets.
was giving me shit, and luckily, like my father-in-law, we had a conversation with my father-in-law about it back then. He was like, he wouldn't do the lights. He was up there. And can you believe that? He goes, I don't fucking blame him. Yeah, so I don't do lights. So like we do like some rambling. I always tell her every year, and nothing's ever changed. I was like, you want lights up? someone has to go do it. So we just do we have little candy canes. and a
Yeah,
couple
do the lawn
blow-ups,
ornament stuff.
And a couple blow ups. These little reindeer thing we've had for 5 or 6 years. Because I can't get on the roof anymore. Tights.
I love the
I agree.
outlined house thing,
I think it's
but
cool.
it's just
Yeah.
terrible.
I
It
love
looks
lights.
great,
I would
but-
love to be this decent light setup, but I
Go ahead, James.
Go ahead, James.
I'm the worst one. When I bought my townhome, I bought it as is. I didn't do no inspection or whatever. So I was single at the time when I moved in. Well, my fiance and I, we had three boys, and my son alone is fucking wild child. He's a fucking demon. I can't have ornaments on my tree. This is my second year now because I have all the Hallmark $20 ornaments
Yeah.
that it
the
starts
good
with,
ones, yeah.
and he destroys everything. So I can't have the elf because he takes it around and throws it and does all kinds of shit. But I have so many fucking blow-ups and lights that have to go outside, but my outlets outside don't work for some
Right.
reason. And I have never got fixed. And every year the kids ask, "Oh, can you put the blow-up?" And I literally can fill up my whole yard and side of my house with blow-ups because I buy them after Christmas.
Yeah, it's the best time.
They're piling up, and they always ask me, "Are we putting these up?" I'm like, "Yeah." Next year it's going to be fixed. But
Yeah.
It's on
going on
recording now. He
5
can't go back on it.
We're going on 5 years that the outlet has never worked.
Right.
We'll discuss
So-
this after YouTube stops recording. We might be able to help you out.
Last question I'm going to have for everybody tonight, and I'm only bringing this up because James had mentioned it, right? So what does Christmas dinner look like for you guys? So for me, like James brought up, cooking for everybody and the food and all that. For me, it's like Thanksgiving version 2. It's legit the same food. It's turkey, it's ham, it's all the same sides and stuff. We do basically Thanksgiving volume 2.
For us, we've done a mixture, but the past few years it's been a mixture between two things. Seafood salad on little mini sub rolls. It's little sandwiches because we do it at my parents. At my wife's father's, he does a Cracker Barrel Christmas.
Oh, that's
where
right.
It's
You did tell me about that.
The ham and stuff. Great meal, by the way, and a hell of a deal. But that's what we do there. And then at my parents, for my family, we just do either those seafood sandwiches or we're flipping again this year. We're going back to Fast Eddie's pit beef, pit ham, pit turkey,
that sounds
classic Baltimore style food. It's something different. That's what we like, and it's enjoyable. So,
James, tell us about what this dinner looks like. What's your dinner like for Christmas?
Well, when you come into the household, dinner's at 3:30. So I tell people to come in a little bit early. I have a little appetizer. I got a little deli spread with Italian deli meat, salami, prosciutto, mozzarella.
So Italian.
Then you have the cheese, so you have all different kinds of cheeses and crackers. Hey, you can help yourself.
can we
to a
end this show soon? I got crabs to eat.
cocktailed wine, and then
Fine,
you move
we'll
on
handle
to. Then you move over to. It's called timbola. It's sort of like lasagna, but they're made with crepes, and that's handmade crepes.
It's
And
really,
they're
really
handmade-
Ricky Bobby.
And it's like lasagna, but they're layered crepes, and it's so good. And then you move on to the entree, which is normally like a tenderloin.
Yeah.
A nice little tenderloin with roasted potatoes
Oh,
and
man.
broccoli, some bread everywhere. You need bread and butter.
Of course.
And then you have your water. You have to have your salsa water, to help digest your food. And you move on to the cake. It's called a house cake. It's sort of like
Wow.
a rum cake.
Hey,
And
Fred,
then
you ever
have
heard
all
of the
kinds stuff.
term opening a can of worms?
Yeah. Apparently.
But
Quite the spread.
I go all out because, we eat good, we work hard, we enjoy ourselves, and enjoy the time.
That
sounds
does sound
good.
like amazing food.
Drew, what's your Christmas dinner like?
Chinese takeout. I'm kidding.
Chinese, really?
I'm kidding. I had to follow up something with that. Luckily for us, we had the bright idea. Look, we're not going to go traveling even before COVID. Since the kids were born,
Yeah.
we don't go traveling. We if you want to come see the kids, you got to come to us.
Right.
So we've kind of had people kind of funneling in and out here and there, mostly show up for dinner. But you're right, it does kind of feel like Christmas version 2.
Yeah.
So I know, we were talking about the other day, just doing a ham and doing the normal sides. But I told her I think this time around I'm gonna do a prime rib on the smoker.
Oh, that sounds good.
So you can have all the normal sides that you would have with that Christmas sides. but
Right.
We're gonna change the meat up because that too we had for Thanksgiving we had a ham and a turkey, and then we had the Friendsgiving thing.
Yeah.
It was a ham and a turkey. It was I'm done with the shit.
Yeah, I get it.
Like
I
it's
get
either
it.
prime rib or it's Chinese takeout.
Right. Ryan, I know you guys like have 4 different Christmases and they're all over the place.
All over the place now that we have a bunch of adult nurses. Back in the day, though, I will say I feel like we did breakfast for dinner. My mom always made banging French toast when I was a kid.
Yes.
So that I think
I have that every Christmas morning, mind
I think that was Christmas Eve that we did that. If I'm right, I can't remember. It's been a while.
Okay.
But that was definitely a tradition somewhere around there. Either Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, something. And then we usually just do a ham and green beans, but it's different all the time. Like I said, I'll have at least 2 Christmases this year. And
I'm surprised your answer wasn't Lito's Pizza, because I figured that would be it in the Sample House.
They're closed on Christmas.
The only tradition I can remember is like a French toast breakfast meal. Everything
That
else has
sounds
just
good.
been kind of random food every once in a while.
Yeah, I do that with my mother every morning for Christmas. So, again, thank you to everybody out there that has supported us throughout the years this year.
Appreciate you.
Ryan and I, like you said, won't be back next week. So not only Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all of you out there. Make sure you do tune in next week for the 3-headed monster here between James, Drew, and Scott. I'm sure they'll put up an entertaining episode as always. Thank you to everybody here. You know, I love you guys. Appreciate everything that you guys do to help this show run the way it does. Merry Christmas again to everybody. We'll see you guys. Ryan, I'll see you in 2022.